who says, and this is at 7013C that we've talked about before.
Okay, I'm sorry, I was just testing the computer
When
mic.
the defendant offers evidence of the alleged victim's character, then the prosecution is entitled not only to offer rebutting evidence about the victim's character, but also introduce evidence that the defendant has the same character trait. So it starts off when the defendant offers evidence of the alleged victim's character, which hasn't been done.
That's the first part of that statute, not the second.
Well, the second part, if we're talking about this, I'm talking about 2B, which is going to be one, when they do these transpositions of the numbers. What are you offering it under? You tell me the statute you're offering it under.
I'm
I
offering
thought it was
90404 1B, but there's two provisions in there.
I know there are.
Okay, we're talking about the second, which is the character trait of peacefulness of the victim offered by the prosecution in a homicide case to rebut evidence that the victim was the first aggressor.
Right. And that is a more sweeping statement than the older material before, I think it's a 1974 revision. Anyway, there was disagreement in the other one I used was the Graham Handbook of Federal Evidence, and there's disagreement. So when I walked out here, I thought, well, I think I'm going to resolve it, the tie in favor of the state. Now, you're forewarning them that you have got some other crimes or some contrary evidence, I guess rebutting evidence that we might as well talk about now rather than have to excuse the jury again. Are you prepared for what the defense suggests they're going to offer?
Yes, I don't believe the incident in which an individual runs to try to help or try to save people brings in completely irrelevant criminal acts that have already been barred.
It's character traits for peacefulness is what they're getting into. I have two criminal complaints, one of which the defendant held a knife to his brother's throat. He put a knife to his brother's ear. He called him. He said he would gut him like a.
He said what?
Mr. Huber told his brother that if he didn't start cleaning a room in their house, he was going to gut him like a pig. Mr. Huber's brother noticed a knife in Mr. Huber's right hand that looked like a butcher knife, 6 inches long with a green handle. Mr. Huber later on in the same incident threw a chair and some clothes across the room, threatening to kill his brother if he didn't clean. Mr. Huber then sat down with the knife in his hand and watched them while his brother and Mr. Huber made his grandmother pick things up as well. And Mr. Huber told his brother that if he stopped cleaning, he would kill him. Mr. Huber's brother then turned around and Mr. Huber put a knife to his brother's stomach, saying he was going to gut him like a pig. Mr. Huber's brother bent down to try to protect himself. Mr. Huber then grabbed his brother by the neck, dug his nails in, and choked him for approximately 10 seconds. He then put a knife to his brother's left ear. His brother felt the blade and believed his ear was cut. And then as he left, he told the people in the house, "I'm going to burn the house down with all you fuckers in it." That's what Mr. Huber had said in that instance. and that is charged in Kenosha County case 12 CF 1346. He has another criminal.
What was the outcome? And what was it? 12 CF?
12 CF 1346. I believe he entered a plea to strangulation and suffocation in that case.
Okay.
I have an 18 CM 509 case in which he kicked what I believe is his sister, Caitlin Hughes, in the right hip, causing her pain and causing her to fall into a nearby dog crate. So I would normally not move to admit those. However, if they're saying that this is a peaceful man, and if you say, Judge, running to this area to stop whatever was happening, it's not a fight or there's no violence, it doesn't sound like. But if you're saying that's peaceful, 90405 allows me to get into specific instances on cross.
I know that.
So,
In order to respond, I believe 90405.
Could you start over?
Sure. I believe 90405 allows specific instances of conduct of the individual being cross-examined, which we obviously cannot do. This I don't know how they would get this in. I guess.
Wait a minute. What do you mean? What do you can't? The individual being cross-examined will be the person who's giving the opinion. I tried this case, State against King, right here in this room when I was district attorney, 1974, 75. Mr. King shot his wife in the eye and killed her, and there was testimony. Well, the bottom line was that I was allowed when the an opinion had been expressed about the character for peacefulness of the accused, and on cross-examination I inquired, would your opinion change if you knew thus and so about Mr. King? And there was objection because it was a specific instance, and the Supreme Court said that was permissible inquiry because the opinion had been rendered, and the wealth of knowledge of the opinion giver was therefore subject to scrutiny as to how much information this person actually knew, because the character you're trying to present isn't limited to just an incident involving a fire at some point in time, but is limited to the entire character of the decedent. So my initial inclination would be this is probably admissible. Probably. And if you go ahead with the evidence, and you're welcome to do so, although the defense has also pointed out correctly that the character is for peaceableness, and what you were talking about was more heroism. So, but I think I'll give you that much. But you're forewarned. I'm going to be taking another look at that King case because it's been a long time. But this sounds like something that he'll be allowed to go into.
Understand?
What do you want to do?
I will not submit the evidence.
You what?
I will withdraw that question and not submit the evidence.
You'll withdraw that question and?
I'm not going to elicit that testimony.
Okay, do you want Mrs. Hughes back on the stand?
Yes, there's still just a couple
Okay.
more questions. They obviously have to cross-examine her.
Okay. Are we ready for the jury? Would you come down, please?
Yes.
Mr. Schroff, see what?
Just putting your book back. I want to witness.
Good afternoon, everybody. We had some additional discussion on the issues that were pending, and it has been decided the state has decided to withdraw the question which was asked.
Settled in? Okay. Ms. Hughes, the night of August 25th, or into the morning of August 26th, when or how did you hear about what had happened to Anthony?
I got a text around midnight, maybe a little after, from Anthony's girlfriend Hannah, saying,
Oh, we don't need to get into the context of it. That would be
Okay.
called hearsay. And then, did you ever receive any further communication about? Let me ask it this way: when did you find out that he had died?
much later. It was maybe 5:30 in the morning.
And how old was Anthony when he died?
He had turned 26 a couple days before.
Ma'am, I'd like you to look at there's an item in front of you which I've turned over. I'd ask you to turn it over to look at it. It's been marked as State's Exhibit 44. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
What is that?
This is a photo of Anthony as an adult and Anthony as a child with his skateboard.
And are those pictures you provided to my office?
Yes.
Are those true and accurate copies of how Anthony looked in childhood and as an adult?
Mm-hmm.
I'd ask that 44 be entered into evidence and published to the jury by being passed around.
Is there objection?
There is not.
Okay, go ahead.
That's all the questions I have. I'll give it over.
And he can do it.
I'll do it.
Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
Did you have questions?
I have no questions for Ms. Hughes.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. You may step down.
Thank you.
Carry on.
Oh,
Oh.
so. Would you raise your hand, please? Do you solemnly swear the testimony you are about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Please be seated.
Ma'am, could you please state your first and last name and spell them for the benefit of the court reporter?
Carrie Ann Swart, it's spelled K-A-R-I-A-N-N-S-W-A-R-T.
And Ms. Swart, do you know Joseph Rosenbaum?
I do.
How do you know Mr. Rosenbaum?
He's my fiance?
And is Mr. Rosenbaum still living?
No.
And did he die on August 25th, 2020?
His date of death is considered August 26th.
And before that date, how long had you known Mr. Rosenbaum?
Since August 3rd of 2019.
And after you met, how long did it take till you started a romantic relationship?
About maybe 3 days.
And Had you known him before? You'd never met him before August 3rd?
No.
And where are you from?
I grew up in Illinois.
What would you and Joseph do together?
When Joseph and I were together at the beginning, we were homeless. Just spent a lot of time talking, getting to know one another, and laughing and joking around. He was a very animated person like that.
And is Joseph from Kenosha?
No, he is from Waco, Texas.
And do you know why he moved up here?
He moved up here to be with his girlfriend at the time and their child.
So does he has a child living in Kenosha?
Correct.
I would like to bring your attention to the day of August 25th, 2020. Did you see Joseph on that day?
I did.
And where did you see Joseph?
I saw him at the motel that we were living at,
Was it in the motel or outside the motel?
outside the motel.
And had you seen, do you know where Joseph had been in the days prior to that?
Correct.
I'm sorry. Do you know where he had been in the days prior to August 25th? In the day or two prior?
Yes.
Where was he?
He was at a hospital in Milwaukee.
And do you know for sure how he got from the hospital in Milwaukee back to Kenosha?
I am not 1,000% sure. As far as I gathered from him and from the hospital, they brought him down here.
You didn't bring him back down.
No, I did not.
And he wasn't dropped off at this motel?
No.
So how did, if you know, how did Joseph, do you know where he was dropped off?
I believe he was dropped off by the transit center.
So right around here in downtown Kenosha. And do you know how he got to your hotel?
He walked.
I don't want to give the name because it's about how far would that be?
About an hour, 40 minutes, 40 minutes to an hour, I would say.
So the hotel is not in downtown
No,
Kenosha?
it's not.
Ma'am, can you bring the microphone a little closer? It's kind of hard to hear in here.
Is that better?
And when Joseph arrived at your hotel, what did he have on him?
You mean as in on his person?
Well, let me ask this way. What was he wearing?
He was wearing jean shorts, white shoes, and a red top.
Did he have a bandana with him at all?
No.
And was he carrying or holding anything?
He was carrying a plastic hospital bag.
And did you see the plastic hospital bag?
I did.
Did you see what was inside the plastic hospital bag?
I did.
What was inside the plastic hospital bag?
I saw socks, a miniature deodorant, like trial size, little toothbrush and toothpaste, paperwork, and an empty water bottle, like a plastic water bottle that was empty.
So when you're talking about a plastic water bottle, let me just borrow
Yeah.
one from the detective here.
Yeah.
Do you mean like your standard 16 to 20 ounce plastic bottle, or like something you'd see maybe at a gym or on a bike, like a more heavy plastic?
No, it was a plastic bottle like that.
So a small, probably 16 ounce plastic.
It was
water bottle.
empty. There was no water.
And did you talk to him about this bag?
I did. I just asked him if he wanted me to throw it out, and he had said no, he was going to carry it around with him because of the few items that were in it.
About what time did he arrive at this, or I guess near this hotel?
I would say between 3:30 and 4:30.
And what did you guys do once he arrived?
We talked. We hadn't seen each other for maybe a week, and we just mostly talked about his and my relationship.
And this was outside?
Correct.
And then actually let me ask it this way. Do you know if he was able to procure any medication that day?
He was not able to fill the prescriptions he had because the Walgreens closest to us had been boarded up and closed down due to the chaos that was going on.
Do you know, if he had taken his medications that day?
He had.
Do we have the TVs on? Ms. Swear, I'd like to show you what is marked as Exhibit 26. Do you recognize that?
I do.
And what is that?
That is the plastic bag from the hospital.
And is it true that a few days ago I showed you a printout of this exact exhibit?
Yes.
And is that the plastic bag that you're referring to that he had brought back from the hospital?
Yeah, it's like one of those plastic bags that you just put your clothes and belongings in.
And in looking at the screen, does it seem like there's more items or fewer items or the same items, if you can tell, that he had when he was at your residence?
It appears to be the same as when I saw it.
Can you make out anything in this photograph?
I can make out. I think he might have had an extra shirt in there, that might be, and it looks like the water bottle on the side.
What, I didn't get what you said.
Shirt.
Sure, thank you.
Do you know if Joseph Rosenbaum knew anyone named Kelly or Joshua Zeminski?
He did not.
I would object, that's speculation.
Sustained. Expect the answer. The witness would not be in a position to know the identity of all persons that the accused would have known, the decedent would have known. Thank you.
Do you know if he knew any people in Kenosha?
No, he did not.
Same objection. Not sure I heard the question.
The question was, do you know whether he knew many people in Kenosha? And she answered, pardon me?
That would be my objection would be the same.
Okay. It's along, generally, it's the same, would be the same ruling, except that it's like my asking if you know people in, many people in Topeka. That's really a bad example, you know. But the bottom line is, it's a little bit different from the last. Did the decedent know an individual, a specific individual? Now he's asking her, did he know many people in Kenosha? And I think that she'd be in a better position to answer that, so I'm going to let that one go.
And you said no?
Correct.
Now, in your relationship, this about year, how often were you with him?
Every day.
And were there times he would go out on his own?
No.
Were you together all the time?
All the time.
And you said for a while you were homeless, and you said you were living in a tent,
Correct.
and you were together that entire time.
All the time.
Did Mr. Rosenbaum ever introduce you to someone named Joshua Zeminski?
No.
Did Mr. Rosenbaum ever introduce you to someone named Kelly Zeminski?
No.
Did he ever talk about knowing a Josh or a Kelly?
No.
Do you know Joshua or Kelly Zeminski?
I don't.
How tall was Joseph?
5'3".
How tall are you?
5'3".
And was Joseph a larger individual, build-wise? Was he bigger frame, smaller frame, medium frame?
He was medium, smaller frame.
Do you know if Joshua had any money on him when he was at your residence?
I'm sorry,
Do you know if he had any money?
Joseph?
Did I say Joshua? I apologize. Did Joseph have any money?
Uh-oh, what's going on? Can you guys hear me at least? Is it just their stream that's doing this, or is it me too? Can you guys hear me talking? I wonder if I can let me look over here. Might be my internet. It says I'm online. Let's go here. Let's try something here. Let's see if we have internet. Yeah, I got internet. So it's not me, guys. It's them. Okay, so it's not me. You know, let me try refreshing their page. Let's see what happens there. There we go.
If you know if Joshua had any money?
All right, I'm going to turn my
on him when
mic
he
back
was at
down,
your
guys.
I'm sorry,
Do you know if he had any money?
Joseph?
Did I say Joshua? I apologize. Did Joseph have any money? Do you know if Joshua had any money on him when he was at your residence?
I'm sorry,
Do you know if he had any money?
Joseph?
Did I say Joshua? I apologize. Did Joseph have any money?
You know what? Oh, yeah, it says feed is down. Okay, so they're saying feed is down. So it's not just me. All right. Well, you know what? Let's go see if we can find it somewhere else real quick. Let's see. Let's watch it on PBS.
I got a phone call at 4
Here
in
we
the
go.
morning from the medical examiner.
This one's working.
And is that when you discovered that Joseph was deceased?
Let me go back to that other one though, guys, real quick. You can hear it. I'm gonna tell these
Joseph,
people.
own any guns?
I'm gonna try and get everybody
Did
to
he
come to my
have
channel.
an interest or a hobby involving guns that you're aware of?
Not at all.
Do you know
You
if
magazines,
Joshua had any
articles,
money
or-
on him having a knowledge about guns?
No, he did not like guns.
What do you mean?
I'm going to object to this line of questioning based upon the court's prior ruling, motion and eliminate in this subject regarding firearms.
Sustained.
Actually, no. If I do $10, how long will it stay up there? Is it there for 2 minutes? 5 minutes? Let's make it stay up there. If we can find a live stream and you can chat with fellow conservatives. Let's do this real quick. Unable to send that message. Why? Am I blocked from talking on their channel?
Once you received this news?
I fell to my knees and cried.
And then what, if anything, did you do?
I went on my phone
Yeah, it works, okay,
and
so let me do
looked
this
up
then.
on the Facebook Kenosha scanner page to see what the police call might have been about that night. And there was a video link, and I clicked that, and that's when I saw the video of Joe dying.
So you watched one of the videos of the shooting?
Let's see if I can do it.
And that evening, had you been watching?
Unable to send
We've
messages.
heard a lot of people are out there live streaming or filming or the news. Had you been watching any of that?
Nothing.
All right, so you had no idea that anything, you didn't know what was happening in downtown Kenosha until 4 o'clock
Till
in the morning.
4 in the morning.
Once you saw that video, what did you do?
I broke down.
Maybe because I did it yesterday, they got mad at
I
me.
can't get that image out of my head.
Nope,
so-
won't let me send it. Oh, well, fine. Don't take my $5 then.
Did you go down to downtown Kenosha at all?
I did the following morning. My sister picked me up about 8 a.m. and we went over to Car Source, and there was the mark where Joe had been laying, and I put my hand in it, and my hand was wet with his blood, and that's again when I collapsed on the ground.
to show you what is marked as States Exhibits 42 and 43. Put them here, we'll look at it in order, okay? I'll let you Exhibit 42. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
And what is that?
It's a picture of Joe and I in front of Quick Trip.
And is that a true and accurate copy of a photo of you two together?
Yes.
If you know, do you know when in relation to August 25th that was taken?
I would say, in relation to when, probably a year prior.
Oh, so probably closer to when you first met.
Yes.
I would like to move Exhibit 42 into evidence.
Objection?
I don't.
Received.
Let's take a look at Exhibit number 43. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
And what is that?
It's a picture of Joe and I in the bathroom.
Okay. And is it a true and accurate copy of a picture of yourself and Mr. Rosenbaum?
It is.
And is that a picture? I'd like to move Exhibit 43 into evidence.
Objection?
I don't have an objection.
Received.
And if you know, where in your relationship was that taken, time-wise? Was it?
This was about April of 2020.
Thank you. I'd like to publish the pictures by having them passed around the jury.
Objection?
No.
Go ahead.
I believe that's all. That's all the questions I have.
Judge, I know you don't want us to approach, but based on our earlier conversation, I'd like to have a conversation about specific areas of inquiry.
I wonder what they're talking about. Anyway, sorry guys. So, if you guys are wondering, my lawyer for the January 6th committee we both decided that, you know what, F January 6th committee, and they can get a
Let me
subpoena if
ask
they
you
want to
folks
talk
to
to me.
step out for a minute.
I'm trying to make this bigger here. That's what she said.
Yeah, when you finish looking at those pictures, then I'm going to ask you to step into the library for a
We
minute.
make it bigger
After you've
that
done
way,
so,
but is
why
that
don't
too
you
big
step
for
in
you
the
guys to
library?
see? Let's see.
And I don't
Oh
think
no, that's
this will be
perfect, I
lengthy.
guess. There you go. I'm gonna go back to that other one then real quick. I was trying to, what I did yesterday is I went over to this other channel that I was streaming it from and said, hey, watch it live on mine, you know? Come see me. Oh wait, are they still
Your
streaming?
EMT license.
Oh, that's replay, they're not live. They were showing it yesterday too. That was streamed 1 hour ago. Let's see, let me go to this Law and Order. What is it called? Law and Crime Network. Here we go. I think they may have blocked me from, because
Do you know?
yesterday what I did was I gave them a couple bucks and I said, hey, people, come watch it on my show.
I beg
Had
pardon?
any money
Look what's going on there.
She can step out for
on
a few
him when
minutes,
he was
but
at your
I
residence?
assume this isn't going to be lengthy.
They're behind, I
We'll
guess.
find out. If you're more comfortable walking around for a little bit, you can, but it's going to be just a matter of minutes, I hope. Mr. Sharathis.
So, Judge, I don't want to. We had talked about this after openings, and I didn't want to step on any pretrial ruling. In the opening statement, there was a statement about Mr. Rosenbaum being in the hospital in Milwaukee. That was addressed with Ms. Ward on direct examination. I am of the opinion that simply stating he was in a hospital is a misrepresentation as to what actually was going on. Most people are in hospitals for physical ailments.
Is it echoing when I have it like this,
recover
guys?
From whatever.
Because I got my mic
going
on.
And I think if we're going to give the jury a clear picture of the hospital he was in, I think we have to be able to at least. I think it's appropriate now based on their questioning, and the questioning is evidence. So that in fact that he had been released from Aurora, their mental health wing or their mental health.
Why is that not part of the hospital?
I'm not saying it's not part of the hospital, but I think it's reasonable to say that the majority of people believe that you're at a hospital for physical ailments.
I don't know that in the, well, of course we get a jaded view because we deal with a larger percentage of people who are hospitalized who are there for mental or emotional disorders. So, but and you're not selling this, or
Good, I can keep my mic on and talk
The other
shit.
area that she had mentioned, or that was talked about on cross-examination, was did he take his medications that day?
yeah, that's another matter.
So it's
But she would
irrelevant,
know
I
that.
suppose, if he takes blood pressure medication or medication like that. I'm assuming, and she can come in and do this outside the presence of the jury. I'm assuming there's testimony about him taking his medications for mental health ailments. And I would ask, I don't have to go into it too deep, but I think it's relevant that I ask her what those medications were that he took that day.
You know, it could be, but what if she names a medication? Do we know why it was prescribed, what its pharmacological properties are, what the possible side effects are?
Well, then they
what it's
bring a doctor
generally
in.
used for? There's all kinds of
Get a
things, and
doctor
I'm not
for
going to
witness.
invite the jury to speculate on that by just dropping in front of them, well, he was taking
Xanax.
liquid penicillin. It means nothing
What
to
the hell
jury.
is liquid penicillin?
So I'm just depositing something for them to speculate about, and so I'm hostile to that.
If she knows what it's for.
Well, I'm going to let you have your voir dire to determine the extent of her knowledge.
Okay.
It is fair game because you did bring up about medication.
I forget, who is this lady?
That's all I can ask. So
Okay. Did you want to say anything?
I don't believe it's relevant. There's things in the reports that he had not taken medication that day. That's why I brought it up. I don't think it's technically all
Well,
that
can't
big
they
of
do a
deal.
blood
I
test and
believe
see if he had
it's,
taken his medication that day?
I don't think it's relevant. I think that you're raising a good point, which is
Sure, there was a talk screen.
these psychoactive drugs, these benzodiazepine type drugs. I'm not an expert on them, or else I wouldn't be at this table. But one drug can be prescribed for a variety of diagnoses.
We're going to because for the very reasons I've said, I'm not just going to give them something that means nothing to them and then ask them to try to speculate as to what it's for. So ask her to come in and she can be examined.
I would not want to examine her. She is not my type. Come on, you guys know you guys like it when I make funny commentary. What's up, real life? Man, why is the video quality so shitty on this one? The other channel had better video quality.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Shirossi.
It says it's an HD too? Wow, that's shitty
but
quality.
you had answered some questions from Attorney Kraus regarding Joseph taking medications that day.
Correct.
Mr. Rosenbaum.
Sorry.
Thank you.
That Mr. Rosenbaum had taken medications that day?
Correct.
Okay. Do you know what they were?
No, I only know some of them. I don't remember all of them.
Do you know, can you tell us the sum that you know he took?
Gabapentin was one.
I'm gonna
That's
stop you for
nothing.
1 second. Do you know
Gabapentin
what he
doesn't do
takes
shit.
that- Did you know what he took that for?
It's for pain.
Bipolar disorder.
Okay.
Oh.
Any other medications that you know that he took?
I know he was on an antidepressant. At that time, I don't know which one they had him on.
Okay.
Those would, and then something for sleep.
Okay, but so the only, to be fair to you, the only medication that you know by name was gabapentin.
Mm-hmm.
And you are telling us that you know he took that for his bipolar disorder.
Correct.
Okay.
Any question for the state?
Yeah, they gave me gabapentin. I don't take it
Do
anymore.
you know?
That was for pain, though. Isn't that anti-seizure measures medicine? Hell yeah, Kyle's
Do you know
innocent.
Do you know that he was diagnosed with bipolar disorder?
Yes.
Did you go to doctor's appointments with him or anything of that nature?
Yes.
And
Is that true, Don? Wow.
how do you know that gabapentin was prescribed for that reason?
I was his emergency contact at the hospital, so they really called me and asked me what kind of medications I've worked in the past for him. And I told them, and they were in contact with me, letting me know what medications he was on, just like they called me that morning to say they were going to be letting him go. But that he had had his medication.
So the hospital told you that day or the night before that they were gonna. Did they say they were prescribing it, or did they just ask you what they should prescribe?
At first, they were asking what they thought was best, and then I told them what had worked for him in the past, and he, the doctor or the nurse that I spoke with, then explained to me what medications they put him on, and that was that.
How many medications total, if you know, was he taking? Or was he let me ask this way. Was he given at the hospital?
I believe he was given Effexor, gabapentin, and Seroquel for sleep. Seroquel.
Sorry, I'm just trying to look up these drugs. I'm not familiar with them.
Right, Snooks? If he was taking that stuff, it should have calmed him down. And then he just got out of the hospital, right? Out of a mental hospital. Don't you think they would have shot him up before they left?
Yeah, I think there's enough information that it's admissible. So, and the state did open the door. So, ask the jury to come back in, please.
This is something I don't. Why do you always got to stand for the jury to come back? I guess it's respect, but I mean, I don't know. You guys notice Kyle has a different suit every day, but his attorney wears the same suit, it looks like. His attorney's a cartoon character on Family Guy. You always got to wear the same suit. Seroquel is also a junkie medicine that seekers go into. So what are they? Is it like scissor up? You mix it with like alcohol, Seroquel, and then it does that? What's up, Spicy Peach? Haven't seen you in a while. How you doing, sweetie? I'm still getting used to these GTSY. Good to see you. I'm an old dude. I'm 45. I'm used to freaking, you know. I'm not used to texting speech.
Ms. Ward, I only have a couple of questions for you.
Sure.
Okay.
Matlock.
You had mentioned,
I love Matlock.
on direct examination that You and Mr. Rosenbaum spent the day of the 25th together. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, it is a different suit,
Okay.
sorry.
And you were asked by Attorney Kraus if he had taken his medication that day, right?
Correct.
And Mr. Rosenbaum was taking gabapentin, is that right?
I believe so, yes. That's what I
Okay.
was told.
Okay. And you know, having been around him, that was for bipolar disorder?
It was to help with, along with the antidepressant.
And when you saw him, this plastic bag, you saw the picture of the plastic bag?
Correct.
One of the things that you mentioned that he had in there was a plastic water bottle.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And you had said that plastic water bottle was empty, is that right?
Correct.
Did you find it odd that he was walking around with an empty plastic water bottle?
Well, when I saw the bag with the empty bottle, I thought it might have been garbage. I asked if he wanted me to throw it out, but he said because he had some clothes and some paperwork from the hospital that he was just going to hold on to the bag because that was all he had.
And he didn't ask you to throw away the water bottle, did he?
No.
He took that with him when he left you that evening, is that right?
As far as I know.
Now, you had said that normally you had spent a lot of your time or all of your time together.
Yes.
But that night was going to be different, is that fair?
Yes.
And you had told him not to go downtown.
Correct.
Okay? Why was that?
Because of all the unrest the days prior.
And you were concerned that he was going to go down there?
No, I was concerned that because the entire city was up in flames that something would happen to him anywhere. But specifically it seemed like it was downtown. So because he was coming from Milwaukee and didn't know all that information about Kenosha, I just wanted to make sure he knew.
Did you feel the need to go with him when he left?
No.
And did he tell you where he was going?
No, he didn't.
Did he, to your knowledge, did he have anywhere else to stay?
No, he did not.
So it was either with you or no other designated kind of place to go.
Correct.
And my last question, from where you were staying, how far is it to 59th and Sheridan?
I would guess an hour walk back, because it's about an hour from the transit to the hotel, so it'd probably be about an hour back to this area.
So if we walk, let's say we walk 4 miles an hour, I don't know that, but so it would be maybe 3, 4, or 5 miles, somewhere in there?
I don't know.
Okay, good enough. Ma'am, I don't have any other questions for you. Thank you for your time.
Any question?
Yes, please. Ms. Swart, did the hospital he was at, did they consult with you on medications he was going to receive?
Yes.
And why? So was this a new mixture of medications that he was
No.
on?
No. This was his regular medication that he had gone off of and had been back on for the last week or so, last week, 10 days before his death.
And he had been on that with his other medications
Nice
altogether
nuggies.
for a while.
Yeah, for the whole time I was with him, a year, yeah.
Nothing further.
I have no follow-up questions.
You may step down, ma'am. State.
It's getting quiet again. I wonder what they're talking about now. Dude, I'm having trouble with my restream chat. So Lyrica keeps your testosterone down. Is that what you're saying? Just curious, cause my stupid doctors put me on Lyrica. It's supposed to be take my pain. It's supposed to help take my pain away. It's like a daily pain because they won't give me hard pain medicines because of me taking medical marijuana in the past. Like, shit, I got my Lyrica right in front of me here right now. It says generic for Lyrica. I'm supposed to take I take 2 pills in the morning and 2 pills at night. It's like 25 milligrams, something like that. I don't know how Lyrica is abused, honestly. It's like Lyrica does nothing for me. I don't even know. It doesn't really take my pain away. Really. Because they told me it's supposed. They were giving me gabapentin, and it was supposed to just see because I'm a chronic pain person. I have pain
Would you
nonstop.
raise your right hand, please?
So they said it's supposed to
Do
reduce.
you solemnly swear the
my
testimony
pain.
you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and
they want me to
nothing
stop
but the truth,
taking
so help
weed.
you God?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
Could you please pull that microphone really close in front of you and speak as loudly and clearly into it as possible? Could you state your name and spell your name for the record, please?
Sahil Kendry, S-A-H-I-L, last name K-H-I-N-D-R-I.
How are you currently employed?
I have my own dealership in Milwaukee,
What is that dealership called?
Car Planet,
Where is that located?
4020 North Green Bay Avenue.
Back in August of 2020, were you operating that car dealership in Milwaukee?
Yes.
Are you familiar with a series of car dealerships here in Kenosha by the name of Car Source?
Yes, sir.
How are you acquainted with those businesses?
Actually, I worked here up until 2015, and after that, I moved to Milwaukee.
When you say you worked here
Mhm.
up until 2015, where is here?
Kenosha.
Okay, at Car Source?
Yes.
After 2015, did you work at Car Source?
No.
Did you have any ownership interest in the company?
No.
Was there a time in which you were down here at one of the Car Sources around the night of August 25th, 2020?
Is that Monday?
That's Tuesday night.
Tuesday? I was actually here. We got a call on the first night of riots. We got a call from police department. It's actually my dad's dealership, so I was here actually before that too.
What is your father's name?
Anil Kendry,
How do you spell that?
A-N-I-L, last name, same last name, sorry.
What is his relationship to the Car Source dealership?
He's the owner.
You said that we got a call. Who is the we?
Police department called because my brother's phone was off, and I guess people, like around 4 o'clock, he put it on silent mode at nighttime, and then police department called around 6:30 to notify that riots happened or stuff like that.
Who did the police call at that time?
I do not remember. One of us.
Okay. When you say one of us, it's you
Either
and
my
who else?
dad, either me, myself, or my brother. I think more like my brother.
What is your brother's name?
Anmol Kintry.
And do you know what Anmil, can you spell that for us, please?
A-N-M-O-L.
What is Anmil's relationship to Car Source?
He's basically an inventory manager For example, cars come from the auction, give it to mechanics, repairs, and then once they are detailed, put it on the lot. That's it.
Back in August of 2020, was your brother Anmol the head of the inventory for CarSource?
Yes.
You said there was a phone call around 6:30 p.m. Do you remember which night that was?
6:30 a.m. on Monday morning. Monday morning, yes.
Okay. I misunderstood. What, if anything, did you personally do after that with regard to the issue of the phone call? Did you come down here?
Yeah.
Okay. Where do you normally live?
We were on KR, like
That's
20 minutes away.
Okay. And when you say we were on KR, do you mean just
We live in the same house.
you, your brother, and your dad?
Yes.
Okay. So did the three of you come down at that point?
Actually, 4 was my mom too.
Okay. Did you all come down at that point?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes. Sorry.
And what did you observe about the CarSource properties at that time?
A lot of cars were burned. The building, a lot of glass was
Sorry.
broken. So,
I'm messing with the chat. I'm trying to give you guys a
police
different
had
kind of chat.
Caution tape around it.
I've got a map up on the wall behind you there. There is a, next to the, in front of you, that bottle of hand sanitizer, there's
Oh.
a device laying next to it that's a pointer. Yes, right there. It's a laser pointer. And would you please, using that map, point out the location that you've just described as having burnt out cars and police tape around it?
We're on 5821. At least can somebody?
Sorry, what was that?
The address. 5821.
So this is a map of the area of Kenosha along Sheridan Road?
Right on the top, right there.
Okay. And you're pointing to the CarSource location, which is on the northeast corner of the intersection of 59th Street and Sheridan Road. Is that fair to say?
Yes, right there.
Okay. In addition to that location, there are 2 other CarSource locations close by on Sheridan Road. Is that right?
No, there's 63rd Street as a second car source.
Okay. There's also a location kitty corner from the one you just mentioned. Are you aware of that one?
You mean car doctor?
Okay, that's what I'm
Yeah,
asking.
yeah, that's a repair center. Yes.
Okay. So if you could point out the one we were just talking about that you mentioned earlier. Okay. And then kitty corner across the street from that to the southwest corner, we have it labeled as CarSource, but do you see what I'm talking about?
Oh, right here.
Yes.
Yes.
What is that location?
Car doctor.
What is that?
It's our repair center that's owned by my mom.
Okay. When you were originally describing a location that had burnt out cars, that was the first one?
Yes.
Okay. You said you came down there at that point?
Yes.
This time in the morning? Which morning was it that you came down? Do you recall which day it was?
Monday morning.
Monday morning? So this was after Sunday night into Monday morning?
Yes.
What, if anything, did you do after that?
Cried.
Okay. What was the condition of the location that you've now described as Car Doctor?
Mm-hmm.
What was the condition of that location?
That was fine.
Did you see any damage to any property at that location?
No.
These locations that you've talked about, the Car Source at 59th and at 63rd, and then the Car Doctor, at that time in August of 2020, did you work for any of them?
No.
Okay. Do you go by the name Sam?
Sal.
Sal?
Yes.
Okay. Did there come a time on that Monday or maybe the following day in which you spoke to anyone, and I'm asking you personally, spoke to anyone about protecting those properties?
No.
There's an individual in the court who's been identified as Kyle Rittenhouse.
Yeah.
Do you see him here in court today?
Yes.
Have you ever personally spoken to that person?
No.
Have you ever personally texted or called or spoken
No.
on the phone with that person?
No.
Okay. At any point during that Monday or Tuesday process, did you ever speak with anyone about protecting any of those locations?
No.
Okay.
I actually don't even work there.
Okay. All right.
So-
I have no further questions.
That was quick.
So, Mr. Kendry, you, how close in age are you and your brother?
2 years apart.
Okay, and you go by Sal. Does he
Yes.
go by Sam?
Yes.
Okay. So,
I don't know if this one's on. I have no idea.
I think, can you just turn around for a second and look at that picture?
Yes.
Okay. Is that you?
Yes.
That is you?
Yes.
Okay. I thought it was Sam, but it's you.
Yeah, that's me.
And can you tell me where that picture is taken?
63rd Street.
63rd?
63rd Street. Yes.
In Sheridan?
Yes.
Okay. That was taken on the night of the 25th, is that right?
Tuesday evening.
25th? Okay. Now, you were asked, I think Mr. Bringer asked you if you can identify the person sitting at the table with the blue tie on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you had said that you've never seen him before?
Now I know his name,
Okay.
but I didn't know him before that.
Okay. If I told you that he was this guy right here, do you know that?
Yes.
Okay. And Mr. Binger asked you, if I have it right, if you had asked anyone to protect the property that night, right?
Correct.
Okay. And you had said
No.
to that? So these men are on your property, right?
It's my dad's, yes.
They're on your family's
Yes.
property.
Mm-hmm.
You don't ask them to leave, correct?
Especially when they have guns and they dress up right in front of me. I was actually behind that silver Mercedes. There was a Hummer parked, which is our personal car. It had a brake line issue, and we parked that car inside, me and my mechanic. And there were a bunch of cars came in around 7-ish, and then the person that's right next to me dressed up right in front of me, like putting the fancy shoes on or something like that. And then he put some other, and then I was over there and I observed that they did that.
Well,
I
tell
don't
me if this is
understand what
right.
he just said.
You didn't think they were there to harm you, did you?
No.
Okay. And do you know anybody else in that picture?
No.
Do you know a gentleman by the name of Nick Smith?
Later I learned he was actually worked for my brother about for a week or two, I don't recall, because I live in I manage Milwaukee store, so I really don't even know his staff until when I come there, because I'm there all day.
Okay, so people in that photograph
Mhm.
have worked for members of your family in the past. Agreed?
Yes.
Okay. And only if you know. Do you know if those people in that picture were going into the Car Source physical building?
Okay, the person with the white hat with the cross, later I find out that he was he used to work for my brother as an ex-detailer, and he worked for a short amount of time.
So my question to you is, do you know if people in that photograph were physically inside that building?
No.
that evening?
No.
You don't know that, or they weren't?
In this building?
Yes.
No.
Were they in any other of the Car Source buildings that your family owns?
Just the 5821 and the car doctor, which is a service center.
So they were physically present inside 2 of the 3 buildings, right?
I don't understand your question.
Well, you said you have 3 buildings on Sheridan Road.
Yes.
You said they were not physically present inside that building, right?
Correct.
But they were physically present in the 59th?
Who present?
Any of these people?
No. No. Only person which I can't imagine, because the Nick, he probably inside because he worked as a like a cleaning cars. That's what he used to do.
Okay. Did he work there at the time, on August 25th?
No.
Do you know how he got in the building?
I do not know.
To get in the building, he would need a key, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know, only if you know, does your family's business give keys to people who no longer work there?
They don't.
So, to physically get into the building, would somebody in your family have to open the building?
Correct.
Okay. And do you remember what time you took that picture with those people on the screen?
Right before the curfew. I can't recall, 7:30ish.
And then did you leave?
Yes.
Okay. And are you telling the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, there was no conversation between you and any of those people about staying to protect the business?
No.
Nothing.
No.
No, there was not, or no, there.
No, there wasn't.
No conversation?
No.
at
I
all?
think, I personally believe, I think the questions more you have is for my brother.
For Sam?
Yes, he goes by Sam.
Okay.
Because I don't even work there.
Sal, do you have a BMW?
Yes.
Do you remember giving Mr. Rittenhouse a ride from Car Source, what we call Car Source 2, which I think is the car doctor, to Car Source on 63rd? Do you remember doing that?
No.
You don't remember doing
No.
that day?
No.
But you do have a BMW?
Yeah. I have 10 more cars.
Okay. All right.
10
Oh,
more
wow.
cars.
Just 10 cars.
Sir, thank you for your time.
Yep.
I don't have any other questions.
Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Kindry, there's going to be something up on the screen in just a second I'd like you to take a look at. It's, is there a way to zoom in on the text?
They just showed a text message, but they blacked out the
Mr.
bottom part. I
Kindred,
wonder
there's
what's
a-
said after
a
that.
message on the screen. It's a text message. I'd like you to read it to yourself, if you would.
Hi, Sam.
No,
It's-
to yourself.
Oh, sorry.
Hey Sam, it's Kyle. Do you need anyone to protect your business tonight? I'm more than willing and will be armed. I need address. Me and my brother.
Have you ever
will both
seen that
be
message before?
Yes.
When did you see it? The first time?
I think Thursday or Friday. My brother showed it to me.
Thursday or Friday of what week?
The same week.
Of the week of August 25th, 2020, when
Yes.
all this was happening?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes, sorry.
Is it fair to say then that this was a message that was sent or received by your brother, not by you?
Correct.
Okay. That's all I have about that. Put up the photo again, please. Mr. Kindry, there's the photo that was just shown to you of you at the that is the 63rd Street Car Source, correct?
Mhm. Yes.
And there's a group of people
Great.
there.
Of course, FedEx shows up right now. I'll be right back, guys.
it's kind of hard. I'm going to ask you to try and go back in time to that moment. There may be some things you've learned since then. I'm interested in, at that very moment, as you're standing there with that group of people, did you know any of them?
No.
I got to ask, why are you in the picture?
I saw the guy right to the right of me dressing up, and I was so impressed. And he mentioned he's from ex-army, and I was like, I'd never seen that, and I normally saw these things on TV. So I'm the one who requested, can I take a picture? And I think somebody did. I can't recall who did it. And then I gave my phone number to Nick to send it to me, and then that's it.
Did he ever do that?
Yeah, he did.
Can you tell us which one is Nick?
The guy with the white hat.
Okay, that's the
With
white hat with the
X's.
red cross?
Yes.
And I assume before this night you knew who he was?
No, because I always work in Milwaukee, and my brother runs the Kenosha stores.
Okay. Let's put aside Nick for a second. Did you know anyone else in that picture?
No, sir.
What was your understanding at that moment in time what those people were doing there? Did you have an understanding?
A lot of cars came, I think 3 or 4, I can't recall which ones, and me and my technician parking our Hummer inside the shop because the brake lines were leaked, and I saw these people were dressing up and this, and I went over there and I observed that they're dressing up. For me, that was really impressive.
But again, my question is, what was your understanding of why they were there? Did you have an understanding of why they were at your place?
They were saying that they were here to protect Kenosha because and community service, and I was like, okay.
Did you hear any of them say they were specifically there for car source?
No.
You mentioned that there was a Hummer that you parked inside a shop. Was it this building shown in the picture?
Yes.
Okay.
All the way to the end.
Okay. We know this is the 63rd Street car source.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like you to take a look at the people in that photograph there. Obviously, you're next to them at 63rd Street. My question is, were you with any of those people anywhere else that night?
No.
Were you with any of those people at the Car Doctor location on the southwest corner of 59th and Sheridan at any point that night?
I recalled there were a lot of, right across the street from a Car Doctor, a lot of people were walking by. I observed some people over there, yes.
Which of those people in the photograph did you observe by the Car Doctor? The one I'm going to use, you're calling it the Car Doctor. We actually haven't heard that up until today, but either way, it's that car source location on the southwest corner, or the Car Doctor location on the southwest corner of 59th and Sheridan. You
Yes.
know which location I'm talking about?
Right across the street from the main lot, right? Yes.
Which of the people in that photograph did you see or were you with at that Car Doctor location?
No one.
No one in that photograph?
No. I saw a lot of people, like from a Car Doctor, if I'm standing over there, across the street, they were passing, and then, yeah, I saw that.
But that wasn't anybody in this photograph?
Not that I recall.
Okay, thank you.
Cross-examination? Recross?
Mr. Kidry, I have one question. Are you aware that the people in that picture were at all 3 of your family businesses that evening?
No.
You were unaware of that?
No.
Okay. And
No, I was not aware of it, or?
Yeah, no, I'm not aware of it.
and you, at a little before curfew, you had left for the night, and that was your involvement on the 24th, correct?
Is it Tuesday?
I'm sorry, 25th.
Was it Tuesday?
Yes.
Yeah, that day, that's the last thing I did was took the picture, and then my brother came in with our mechanic because we heard people chanting over by the courthouse, and then my brother came with the mechanic. He dropped him off, and we're like, okay, let's go. We just left.
I don't have anything else. Thank you.
Any you may step down, sir.
Thank you.
What time? Let's see. We started at 12:30.
Judge is gonna need a break. It sounds
Or
like.
we didn't start till 1 o'clock. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we were haggling.
Judge is old. Gotta go to the bathroom. I don't understand this witness. I don't see anything that this witness had to do with it, to be honest with you guys. They can't take my weapons. You know, I was out, I had a boat, and like we were out on the water, and you know, I always take my guns with me when I go out on the boat, and the water, the waves got really bad, and so my boat flipped over and I lost all my guns. This lady wears the same boots every single day.
You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Please be seated.
Now, what if you don't believe in
Please bring that
God?
microphone as close as you can and speak as loud as possible into it. It's sometimes hard to hear in here.
Sure.
Could you state your name for the record and spell it, please?
Anmol Kendry. It's ANMOL. Last name KHINDRI.
How are you currently employed?
I work for Car Source.
What is Car Source?
It's a dealership owned by my dad,
What is your father's name?
Anil Kendry.
How long have you worked for your father's business?
Ever since we started,
When was that?
back in 2013.
Where is Car Source located?
We have two locations. The main location is 5821 Sheridan Road, Kenosha, Wisconsin, and the second one is on 6226 Sheridan Road, Kenosha.
Are there any other locations that are named Car Source?
No, sir.
Do you have your own business as well?
I just started a month ago.
Is that in any way related to Car Source?
No.
Are you familiar with a location called Car Doctor?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us what you know about that?
That's actually our inspection center because we have a lot of regulations that we have to follow for DOT. So every car that comes in has to be inspected, certified by mechanics. Doesn't matter if they're certified, but yeah, we just use it as well as we have a body shop and a detailing center there.
All of that occurs at Car Doctor?
Yes, sir.
Where is Car Doctor?
It's right across the street from 5821.
Sir, there's a map on the wall behind you there, and that is showing the area of Sheridan Road. On the north, at the top of the map, is 58th Street, and at the bottom of the map, on the south end, is 63rd Street. Right in front of you, by the microphone, is a little laser pointer. Would you mind using that laser pointer and pointing out on this map where those two car source locations are that you described?
I can't see that far.
Do you need, if you need to get up and walk over there,
Can I,
feel free.
please? Thank you. Yes, sorry. Yes, I do see it now. Yes.
Could you please point them out for us?
This is our first location.
And I think you said first location?
Yes.
Okay, and where's the other one?
The other one is 63rd and Sheridan.
And then could you please point out the location that you have identified as Car Doctor?
Yes. It is right here.
And for the record, that is labeled on the map Car Source. It is located at the southwest corner of 59th Street and Sheridan Road. Is that accurate?
5912 Sheridan. Yeah, that is correct.
At any point around August of 2020,
Mm-hmm.
were you employed by or an owner of any of those locations?
Sorry, could you repeat that question?
Yeah. We're going to be talking about the night of August 25th, 2020.
Sure.
That was a Tuesday night, 2 days after Jacob Blake was shot.
Okay.
Do you remember that time period?
Yes.
You've identified the two car source locations.
Yes.
On August 25th, 2020, did you work for those locations?
Yes.
What was your job there?
Move inventory.
What does that mean exactly? You just say move?
Move. Yes. We moved all our inventory to our storage units.
Where, you don't need to give me an address, but where were your storage?
Illinois.
Illinois?
Illinois. Yes.
Let me back up a second just so I
Sure.
can make sure we're on the same page here. We've heard a lot of testimony and we've seen videos of the, I think you called the first location
Yes.
at in the 5800 block of Sheridan Road.
Sure.
The cars were damaged. There was fire that burned almost all of them up.
Yes.
Correct?
That is correct.
Do you remember what night that happened?
That happened. They say it's Sunday night, but it was very early Monday morning.
You just described moving your inventory to a storage location. Why did you do that?
Because my dad asked me to, and we did have quite a few inventory. The main lot that got burned down, the 63rd location, was as well as jam-packed with full of cars.
Is it fair to say, sir, that after you had a large number of your cars destroyed at the first location, you decided to make sure that you got all of the other cars off the other location?
That is correct.
And that's why you were moving them?
Yes.
By the way, do you go by the name Sam?
Yes, I do.
Now, I just asked you what your job was at
Mhm.
those two car sources, and I
Mhm.
think you told me it was to move inventory.
Inventory management, in terms of buying vehicles from the auctions, getting them ready, get them transported, all that, yes.
Were you employed by that other location that you call Car Doctor also?
I am not employed by a car doctor, but I manage. Basically, we get our inventory ready via car doctor.
Why is that location owned and named something different than Car Source?
Because we don't sell cars here.
Okay.
Neither we have license to sell cars here.
When you say you managed the Car Doctor location,
Mhm.
you seem to suggest that that didn't mean you were employed there.
No, I'm not employed. Basically, like I said, I manage inventory for Car Source.
Who, back on August 25th, 2020, who owned Car Doctor?
My mom.
And even though you weren't an employee of that location, you managed it?
Well, a lot of the inventory sitting there is from Car Source.
Okay. On the day of August 25th, 2020, which was a Tuesday, were you there at either one of the Car Source locations or at Car Doctor at any point?
Sorry, could you repeat that question?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I am going to focus in on Tuesday, August 25th,
Okay.
2020. That was the night that Kyle Rittenhouse shot and killed 2 people.
Yes.
It is 2 days after Jacob Blake was shot, and I'm asking you on that particular day if you were at either of the Car Source locations or Car Doctor.
I was at the Car Doctor location.
What were you doing there?
We had few customers' cars that came back for service. We had 2 major vehicles two vehicles that needed major repairs. So we were pushing those cars inside the building
Why were you doing that?
to save them from destruction.
Up until that point, had any of the property at the Car Doctor location been damaged?
No, sir. Sorry, could you repeat that question again?
Absolutely. I think you're describing that on Tuesday, August 25th, you and someone else were pushing some cars inside the building.
Yes.
What I'm wondering is, before that, had any of that property at that location, the building or the cars or anything else, been damaged?
On Tuesday or before Tuesday?
Before Tuesday.
Before Tuesday. I'm sorry, I have to think about it. It's about a
That's
year
fine.
back. So you were asking Monday?
Well, I think you've testified that Car Source 1, the first
Yes.
location,
Mhm.
had been destroyed by fire.
Right.
What I'm wondering is, were any of the other locations, the Car Doctor or the other Car Source, burned or damaged in any way?
I'm sorry, I cannot remember. I don't believe so.
Other than pushing some of the customers' cars inside the building at Car Doctor, what else did you do at those locations on Tuesday?
We basically removed our mechanic tools because we didn't know what was going to happen, and cleaned up because there was, from Monday evening, Monday night, you can say, some cars did get damaged, a lot of glass everywhere, and our mechanics and detailers were basically clearing up the lot. Just clean up, basically, pretty much.
Other than what you've just described,
Mhm.
did you do anything else at either of the Car Source locations or at Car Doctor on that Tuesday?
On Tuesday, no sir. I was majority of the time I spent was at Car Doctor.
Did you ever have any discussions that day with anyone about protecting or guarding either of the Car Source locations or Car Doctor?
No sir.
Do you know, or have you ever heard of a person by the name of Kyle Rittenhouse?
Now I have.
On that day, did you have any contact of any kind? Phone call, a face-to-face discussion, an email, a text message, anything like that with the person that you now know is Kyle Rittenhouse?
No sir.
See, look, you can see they blurred out the reply. I want to see what the reply says.
Sir, I have a message that is up on the TV screen there. I would like you to please read it to yourself. Have you had a chance to read that message?
Yes, sir.
Before today, had you ever seen that message before?
Before today? Yes, sir.
When was the first time that you saw that message?
I cannot tell you exact time, but it was the day after the shooting.
The shooting occurred on a Tuesday,
Yes.
August 25th.
Yes.
Are you saying that you saw this message on Wednesday?
I am not sure. I cannot remember which day it was, but it was pretty close.
Where did you first see this message? In other words, did you see it on a device that you possess, or was it something on the internet, or
My
what?
cell phone.
Was this?
Sorry.
I didn't hear your answer.
Sorry, what was the question again?
I think you said my cell phone.
This message, yes, on my cell phone. Sorry.
Mr. Kindry, the message that's up on that screen, was that a message that you personally received on your cell phone at some point?
Yes, sir.
And I believe you're not sure exactly when it was that you first saw it. Is that fair to say?
Yes, sir.
There is a timestamp on this message,
He's
and it
nervous.
says yesterday, 3:02 p.m. Do you have any idea? Does that help you at all to figure out when this was?
The day after, I'm assuming.
Well, I get that, but I'm wondering if that helps you to understand which day of the week it was.
Wednesday?
Which would mean that this message came in on Tuesday.
Yes.
The message appears to be from someone who identifies themselves as Kyle. Do you know who that is?
I do not.
Someone sent this to your personal cell phone, fair?
Yes.
Do you have any idea how that person got your cell phone number?
Well, ever since Monday morning and Tuesday, I've given out my cell phone number, maybe hundreds of thousands of people, media, general public, my customers, they actually came by for condolences and stuff.
Do you remember giving your personal cell phone out? And I'll just point out, the defendant, Kyle Rittenhouse, is here in court. Put up the photo, please.
I want to see the response. They blur out the
There
response.
is going to be a photograph that I'm going to show you on the screen. Let me just ask first, Mr. Kindry, have you ever seen that photo before?
Yes, I have.
Were you there at the time that that photo was taken?
I was not.
Do you recognize anyone in that photograph?
My brother?
Other than your brother, do you recognize anyone else?
My ex-detailer?
What is that person's name?
Nick?
Can you identify him in that photo?
He's wearing a hat with a cross?
He is the gentleman with the white hat with the red cross on it?
Yes, sir.
Other than your brother and the detailer, Nick, do you know or recognize anyone else in that photograph?
No, sir.
The individual who is the second from the right, he is a male with a green shirt, a black long gun, and wearing a backwards baseball cap. There is an orange device or some sort of case right in front of him on the ground. Do you understand who I'm referring to?
Yes.
That is the defendant, Kyle Rittenhouse, as he looked on the night of Tuesday, August 25th. On that night, or at any point on that day, Tuesday, August 25th, do you remember having any contact with that person?
Sorry, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
While he's armed?
No. I'm asking if you remember at any point on that Tuesday having any contact with that person, either in face-to-face, over the phone, a text message, an email, any contact of any kind.
I do remember he came to me at Car Source at the first location.
When you say the first location, is that the one in the 5800 block that had been
Yes, sir.
damaged by the fires? Tell us what you remember about him coming to you at that location.
It was pretty normal. Just like everybody else, they were talking to us and that you're gonna be fine and this and that, you will come back from this. His response was the same, like the way he said it. He talked about how he can help us with fundraising the business. And I'm sure he asked for my phone number, which I gave it to him, just like I gave it to the media or any other individual who was nice and polite. And I don't remember him giving me his phone number, neither I asked for it.
Did you talk to him about protecting or guarding either one of the Car Source's locations or Car Doctor?
I did not.
On Tuesday, August 25th, did you talk to anyone about guarding or protecting either of the Car Source locations or the Car Doctor?
I did not.
I call BS.
You've identified your person that used to work as a detailer, Nick, in that white hat with the red cross.
Yes.
So this is August 25th, 2020. Was he still working with your family companies in
Not
any
at
way?
all, sir.
But he had done so in the past?
That was quite far back.
On that day, August 25th, that Tuesday,
Mhm.
did you talk to Nick Smith, that individual?
I did not.
Did you provide
Donnie wants to say hi.
keys
Hi, Donnie.
to anyone on Tuesday, August 25th, so they could get in or out of any of the Car Source locations or Car Doctor?
I did not.
Did you offer money to anyone?
I did not.
Please let me finish.
Sure.
Did you offer money to anyone
So does Brownie.
in exchange for them guarding or protecting either of the Car Source locations or Car Doctor?
I did not.
Did you give anyone permission to be inside any of the buildings on either Car Source location or the Car Doctor location on Tuesday, August 25th?
I did not.
Did you give anyone permission to guard or protect any of those three properties?
I did not.
On that particular evening, did you know that there were people there with guns who had taken upon themselves to guard any of those Car Source locations or Car Doctor? Did you know that night that any of that was going on?
I did not.
I assume there came a time after that where you learned about that. Is that fair to say?
The next day, yes.
How did you learn about that?
News channel?
Was that the first time that you knew about any of that stuff?
Videos? Yeah.
I want to go back for a second to that text message that we showed on the screen earlier. Did you ever respond to this text message at any time?
I did not. I didn't know who it was.
One second, please, sir.
Yeah, my Saint Bernard is my service dog. He's not. Oh wait, he turns a year. What was election day? The 6th or the 7th?
Folks, please don't talk about the case.
Yeah, we're going to
Read
break
what you
down.
listen when you account of the trial. We'll see you in about 15 minutes.
Are they going to have another hot mic moment where the judge says, dude, that was so funny yesterday when they had that hot mic moment when the judge was like, man, how long is this shit going to go? Right? It's going to be forever. Oh my gosh. Donnie, dude, it's not even dinner. Oh, he's had a million snacks ready today. All right, what do you guys want to watch? We were watching other stuff in the middle yesterday. What were we showing yesterday that we didn't get to finish? And people were like, you should finish showing that. Oh, we were going to show the chain video when Antifa hit me with the chain. Wasn't that what we were watching? Yeah, this one right here. All right. We can watch this video.
Bro, he's puking because he's
Oops, what happened?
seeing a little bit of freaking real men and he got scared.
So this was at an event in Sacramento. This kid hit me with a chain because
Hey,
he's
what's up,
trying to
guys?
attack a
You
woman.
know you like my videos. Hit that like and subscribe button down there.
Hey, what's up, everybody? So, of course, the left are saying I antagonize the kid, and that I should push it way too far. So, let me show you why. If you notice in the live video, I was got a nose talking ring and because I the was way the lights hit staying my a nose. point, and all of a sudden I stopped because I saw this kid swinging the chain at a lady, which I'll show you right here. So, guys, that just shows you. Watch, I'll show you where it is. That's Rose right there. All right, guys. So I'm stopping it right here because now you see the guy was swinging it. He was about to swing it at this woman, and you see he sees me coming. You see how he's looking? He's staring straight at me while that guy's screaming, "Jesse, come help!" So once I see this kid swinging the chain at the lady, that's why I went up to him, and I recognized him before because when he first showed up on the property, he was walking with a friend, and I saw the chain behind his back. And so I just followed him to watch him. Looks like we got some Antifa going right here. Why this guy just got a chain on him? These are definitely Antifa. Let's just kind of follow these guys. And eventually, you know, I'm like, hey, you know, what are you doing here? And some of my buddies came over and we surrounded them and we said, look, you can go home or leave and we'll let you go, just please leave. And they wouldn't do it. And all of a sudden, one of their buddies started throwing up. This kid got so scared when a couple of Proud Boys got around him that he threw up. Here comes our security detail. So for some reason, he's got a chain that's not attached to a wallet on his back. Why would he need that? He's not here to start no trouble.
You don't want no trouble here.
You guys here to vote for Trump?
Look at him. He's throwing up. All of a sudden he gets sick. He's like, oh shit, these guys are going to whoop our ass. They picked the wrong guy to sit over there.
Oh, he's puking.
He's getting a little scared.
Oh.
She's infected. She's infected.
Quarantine.
So I actually have the picture my buddy took. I gotta find it. He took a picture of him throwing up.
He's puking because he's seeing a little bit of freaking real men and he got scared.
Testosterone.
Oh, look at that. He is throwing up.
We don't trust these.
Now after this, we even said to the kid, do you need medical attention? We will get you help. He said no. We offered him medical help because he was throwing up.
Do you need medical attention? We got a medical.
What's that?
We got a medic if you need help. That's how nice we are.
So that's why the guy recognized me from before. Now I'm going to show you the rest of the video and what happened.
Oh, we got his face.
Yeah, come on, run up on me so I can beat your ass. Please do so.
Oh, see, that's the guy that had the chain before. Look, now he's threatening us with the chain. What are you gonna do with that fucking chain, bro? Let's go. Bring that fucking chain, dude. Bring that fucking chain.
Come on. I'm not gonna hit someone sitting down.
I'm not handicapped. You can fucking do it.
Yeah, go ahead,
You got
so I
that
can
fucking
beat the
chain.
fuck out your
You
ass.
got that chain, and you're threatening with
Stand
us,
up.
but you won't hit me.
I don't hit people that gotta sit down.
But you'll hit people with the
I'm
chain.
standing up, pussy.
But you'll hit with someone
What's
with the
up?
chain.
What the fuck do you
What's
want?
up? What's up?
You're that fucking punk from earlier.
Come on.
Run up.
You're that fucking
Run
punk
up.
from earlier.
Hi. Come on.
Run up.
Come on.
Look at him. He's got this fucking chain in his hand.
Run up.
Well, do it then, bro.
Come on.
You know why you won't do it? Because I'll whoop your fucking ass.
You're in a goddamn chair. What the fuck
So
you
what?
talking
Look at my
about?
fucking arms, dude. I'll fuck your ass up, bro.
Boy, you look like it. You look like they're fucking
Fucking,
swollen.
give me that fucking chain. Give me that fucking chain, bro.
You touch me, I'm gonna hit you.
Give me the, then I touched you. Hit me. All right, bro.
It
Fucking that's
didn't
it.
even faze me. So I'm getting
That's
out of my
it, bro.
scooter right now. And
Fucking.
Thank you. Thank you. Grab the chain. Grab the chain right here.
He's got a fucking
Grab the
chain. There's a chain.
Gotcha. Thank you.
all right. So you might say that I provoked him a little bit. Yeah, I poked him a little bit. But you know what? He was swinging the chain at that lady, and I wasn't going to let that happen. So that's what happened. And, you know, why don't you let me... I'll show you some aftermath of what happened before. Like, where I was coming from, which was a few seconds ago, where that kid probably was. And somebody said a kid ran off really fast. So this might even be that kid that got scared and ran. But here's what happened earlier.
Bitch and a half.
I'm a bitch in a hat?
Yeah, you're a pussy ass bitch.
Really?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Alright guys, so you want to know why everybody's crying in that video and why they're going through their eyes? I found some video, so here it is. Antifa kind of messed with the wrong people that day. Actually, he didn't get what he deserved, because when he went to jail, you know what? The DA told me... If you like that video, don't forget to... So what the DA told me was this. Because they were like, oh, he's such a good kid. He's never been arrested before. So the DA or the prosecuting attorney, they didn't do shit to him. They gave him a slap on the wrist, and they didn't do shit to him. Right? So, because he's a liberal. He's a liberal. Right? So, here, I was looking at, that actually wasn't the main video I was looking for. Let's see if we can find this other video. It's from Sacramento, too. You know, California, I don't know why. In Sacramento, we have a lot of shit going down over there. Shit, where am I? Okay, let's go back to here. All right, let's see. Cause remember the video, guys, where oh wait, you know what? It was about Noble Beard. I think I showed the video in Noble Beard. Noble Beard, EddieBlockFilms. Yeah, here it is. I actually cut the video out a little bit. Watch this.
This was the cool one.
EddieBlock, that was my... He had check. No, it wasn't this video.
I'm everywhere, and I saw an ad.
Look out. Nope, wrong video. I picked the wrong video. Maybe not. Let's see. Wasn't the Noble Beard video? I know I talked about Noble Beard in it. Sacramento. Let's type in Sacramento. Oh, I think it was this one right here. Was this the one where I got in the fight? Oh yeah, here it is right here, guys. So watch this.
Okay.
I got straight up in a brawl at this point. There we go.
Sorry.
So hold on. See this guy right here? You guys can see my pointer? Yeah, see this guy right here? So he starts getting in the middle of the action, and he pushes, I believe, I don't know if this is a girl. You know, I don't want to get in trouble with YouTube. I don't know what this person's pronoun is. I think this person was born a female. How about that? He pushes this person into me, and then I push this person back, and then all of a sudden this guy hits me in the face. So when he hits me in the face, I start punching him back. So just giving you what's going to happen. You'll see.
Get off her! Hey, watch out! Yeah! Sorry.
Yeah, that was... Let's see. Let me see if I can stop it. Sometimes I can stop it right at the right moment. So you can see he's punching my friend right there. Now my friend is going towards him. Let me see if I can stop it at the right time. See, that's me. That's my hand right there punching. I just punched the guy. There's another one where I punch him right in the face, too. See if I can stop it at the right time. Oh, there it is. That's me. See, that's me punching him right in the face right there. So yeah. People think because I'm in a wheelchair, I'm not going to stand up for myself. I stand up for myself. Let's just put it that way. Oh, I think I hit him again after that, too. You know what pissed me off? I had just bought my brand new iPhone 12 Pro right here. And the cops kind of smashed the hell out of it. It still worked, though. You got to give it up for iPhone. Because look, you see how the cops stepped on it and shit? Shit. Yeah, give me a second, guys. Alright.
Get the fuck away from us. Get him away from the guy on the scooter.
Sorry, guys. Hey, get my microphone.
Yeah. So I got hit. I got a little bloody, but it was worth it. Definitely worth it. Don't fuck with the guy on a scooter.
I got it, thank you.
That was the day I heard my 14.
Thank you, brother.
You're good, bro. You guys need to back up. We're getting our shit together.
I'm getting my stuff off.
You think I should have the Fatful as my intro? What, do you guys want to watch that again?
Take all the time you need.
You guys want to watch this in Portland again? We can watch this in Portland again. I love that video. I love the song too. The song freaking bumps in my headphones and on my truck. Let's see. We can watch that video again. Here, let's watch it again.
Hey, you fucked around and you found out today, baby. That's our message to you.
Hey, what's up, guys? You know you like my videos. Hit that like and subscribe button down there.
I should intro this daily.
I know. Days from now, I might be arrested. But I'll tell you this. I'm sick and tired. And if we have to die to defend ourselves, our families, and our fucking freedom in America, we're going to do it. We're going to lay our lives down for what is right, for what is true. Proud boys and patriots will be out here. If the cops won't do it, we are. Hey, we're willing to take the heat.
Yeah, fucked around and you found
out today, baby. That's our message to you, Antifa. The Americans are coming out, and we're sick and tired of this shit.
By the way, everybody pray for Tiny. He's feeling down.
And if we have to fight fire with fire, we're gonna fucking do it. Fuck Antifa.
Pray for him.
This is a left-wing white supremacist. Antifa's an idea, not an organization. You got it, not militia. That's what it is tonight.
So the guy who makes all my songs made this song, and I was like, hey, can I use it for this video? And he's like, hell yeah. Yeah, Tony's okay. He's dealing with COVID. He's prayers.
If you got a problem, yo, I solve it. Hey, check out that hook. If you got a problem, yo, I solve it. Hey, check out that hook. If you got a problem, yo, I solve it. Hey, check out that hook. What? Nowadays, everybody got some
He's just
problems.
dealing gay today right now, guys. Just pray for him.
Nice guy here, I'm a problem solver. Come sit next to me, we can chat it all hypocrite, yo. It's Fafo, and from down and find out. No, this ain't no shit, you'll catch a different time.
This is in Portland back in August.
And the right hook lights out. Should've stayed inside and kept your blinds down. Instead, you came outside with your signs out. Screaming, burn that bacon, I hate you, then you cry now. I won't cover my mouth, not just come to my house. Take some pictures.
Dude, that tow truck almost hit me.
Just lying down. You're in my house now. Ain't no Biden is a clown. 100% of the reason our lives are upside down. Wake 'em up, shake 'em up. Come on, let it all out. Lock 'em all up for treason. Put Trump back in the house. You got a problem, yo, I'll solve it. Fafo, check out that hook, yo. If you got a problem, yo, I'll solve it. Fafo, hey, check out that hook. If you got a problem, yo, I'll solve it. Fafo, hey, check out that hook. If you got a problem, yo, I'll solve it. Fafo, hey, check out that hook. What? Stand back, stand by, but be ready. Because the problems are getting heavy, it's getting messy. The Lord is watching, the end is coming, the temple's building. That building's burning, Jews persecuted, the kids ain't learning. We cover their faces in places.
I had this video out and YouTube took it down. I had the best footage for the live stream that day, and YouTube took it down because they said I showed guns. They're paintball guns.
There's no debating what this Christ was created.
And it sucked because I had the best footage all day.
The Lord is a savior. Do yourself a favor. Help a stranger out and don't forget to love thy neighbor. I love the haters and the agitators. Antifa and BLM, you are all in danger. A whole nother species. They give me heebie-jeebies. A gang of Hishis getting sheep to chop off their peepees. If you got a problem, yo, I'll solve it. Fafo, hey, check out that hook, yo. If you got a problem, yo,
if you guys like this video, want to share, here, I'll give you a link.
hey, check out that hook. If you got a problem, yo, I'll solve it. Fafo, hey, check out that hook. If you got a problem, yo, I'll solve it. Fafo, hey, check out that hook.
Almost everything I see is from the left wing, not from the right wing. What are you saying? I'm willing to do anything I want to see. Let's do it, sir. Say it. You want to call it? What do you want to call it? Give me a name. White supremacist and right. Like me to get white supremacist and right. Stand back and stand by. But I'll tell you what. Somebody's got to do something about Antifa and the left, because this is not a right-wing problem. This is a left behind the right. This is a left-wing white supremacist. Antifa's an idea, not an organization. You got it. Not listen. That's what it is tonight. Stand back.
If you got a problem, yo, I'll solve it. Fafo, hey, check out that hook, yo. If you got a problem, yo, I'll solve it. Fafo, hey, check out that hook. If you got a problem, yo, I'll solve it.
Dude, I remember I was on, whose show was I on? They're like, who's this guy in a wheelchair chasing after Antifa? Was it Owen Schroyer? I think it was Owen Schroyer, huh? I think it was.
I don't know
You know
if
what?
you
I got the
know
same
this.
lawyer as him now. I should freaking have my lawyer hit him up. Let's see how this court's going. Nope, it's still. We're still on break. The trial is in recess and will resume shortly. I don't know, what else can we watch? What else can we watch? Let's see. Deja Vu, that was a pretty good movie. That was a good movie. Dodgeball, that was so funny. Fallen's good. Fallen's a good movie. I like Denzel. He actually does a lot of good movies. Can't watch none of that stuff on here. You know what? I can show you. Actually, I'm told that my lawyer says I should let this video out anyways now, so I guess I can remake this video live again from January 6th. Let's see, live. Let's go to filter. Let me filter this out. Live visibility. Let's go to private. Apply. Let's see. May. January 7th. January 6th. They told me I can make this. They told me to make this public again. So, you know what? I'll make it public again. Publish. Make sure it's monetized. Although I don't know if I can. I'm limited monetization. Fuck you. All right. So you guys want to see this? You guys can see this.
Too bad.
Yeah. This was when we were. This was January 6th.
Realize that the only way.
Service for a little bit. Bless you, my son. We got the Proud Boys here. Can somebody write something so I know you guys can see? I'm not seeing any
Wired in the
comments.
220 volts. Yeah, all this because Jacob like instead of rest.
Oh, it's rising, yeah.
Don, I want to go, but it's too far away, and since I got Donnie J, I got to take him with. So that's a long drive to Wisconsin.
We got a whole boatload of Proud Boys walking through here, folks. This is the big boss man, Joe Biggs.
No, I'm not. Quick balls.
I thought I had my mics working.
All the
that day.
girls
I
want
did.
me to grab your... There you go, girls. You want the hot man? There's Rufio right there.
Why is live chat not available? I just made it public. Let's see if it is now.
No, I'm not. Quick balls.
Did I turn live chat off?
All the girls want me to grab your... There you go, girls. You want the hot man? There's Rufio right there.
Oh, Missouri.
Now all comments. Now you guys get to see what's behind the scenes.
Hey, man. Oh, how you doing?
The scenes of this stuff. I wonder why I don't have comments on here anymore. You're stupid. All right, we gotta block this person. Can one of my mods please block that person?
Some girls said tell Rufio to shake it, baby.
I'm not in the chat room to,
Oh, this is a
block
rental.
them.
This is a rental one.
Can I?
Two fastest scooters in the world. What are they?
The one I'm gonna spend 25 grand on.
Your mama's in a rental.
Wow.
Let's see. Thank you to whoever banned them.
Good seeing you, Pat.
Get in front of me. If I'm faster than you, then you get the hell out of my way.
Slow left. Oh, yes.
So we got
Thank you, Don. I appreciate it.
We got Rufio.
If you haven't noticed, real men are here. We know what the oath is. Support defense constitutionality and foreign and domestic. Let us remind those who have forgotten what that means.
Don is
All right, I'm
awesome.
coming through again, guys.
I have a lot of great mods in here, guys.
The girls want to see Rufio, so.
Press, separate yourselves from our crew.
I know, it'll run you over.
Please.
So we're going to go tell the mayor of DC to go fuck herself.
I've lived a long life, so yeah, I guess I do got a lot of stories, huh, James?
Tell her we got a big vibrator for her.
Hold on. Let's see.
You may be seated.
Oh, they're back. All right, they're back.
Here, I think. Mr. Sharafsi.
You reported and blocked it. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you. I'm not in YouTube. I'm in Ecamm Live, so I can't report them.
Do you have a concern that if you allowed or gave permission to those armed men in that picture to be on your property?
Hold on, I'm trying to get...
With your permission, that you could be sued for that based on what happened?
I did not allow
Supposed to be allowed to
anybody,
block them.
Neither I gave anybody permission.
It's not my question, sir.
Okay, sorry.
My question is this. Do you have concern that if you allowed armed men to protect your property and someone was shot at your property, that you and your family could face a lawsuit for that?
Yes. Don't lie.
Could you repeat that question? I'm sorry.
Sure. Do you have concern? Well, I'll start with this. You, after watching the videos, you understand that Mr. Rosenbaum was shot on your property, correct?
Yes.
My question to you is this. Do you have concern that if you allowed armed men to protect your property, and one of those armed men then ended up shooting someone, that you and your family could be sued for that?
No, sir.
You don't have any concern about that?
No, sir.
How much inventory from the 24th, the 23rd and the 24th, in terms of loss of money, how much money did your businesses lose in terms of damage to property?
I cannot give you an exact number at this moment.
Can you give me a ballpark?
Sorry, I cannot remember at this moment.
More than 100,000?
Yes.
More than 250,000?
I do not know, sir.
So, is this like your family? Is this the business that feeds your family?
I work for my dad.
Okay.
Yes.
And you don't have, and you're the inventory manager?
Yes.
And you don't know what your loss was from those fires?
I personally never calculated it. My dad does the money part.
Did your, if you know, did Car Source and Car Doctor, did they have insurance for those vehicles that were burned?
Yes.
Okay. Now, on the 20, do you know Dominic Black by chance?
I do not.
You know Nick Smith?
Yes.
Do you know a man by the name of Justin Hamilton?
Ex-mechanic, yes.
Okay, and Mr. Smith and Mr. Hamilton both worked for you, is that right?
In the past, yes.
And just letting you know, Mr. Black, Dominic Black, has testified in this case already. Okay? If Dominic Black said that you gave him permission, along with the other people, to be those armed men to be present on your property on the evening of the 25th, would that be not true?
I did not give anybody permission.
So Mr. Black would be lying about that.
Objection.
Typically, the witnesses are not permitted to testify as to the truthfulness of statements made by others. However, the witnesses, you can rephrase it in such a way that the witness can be made aware of the testimony of the other witness and then asked for the truth of it. But not the truth of the other person's testimony, the truth of the matter.
That was already done.
Well, it was, but I'm going to let him.
Okay, Judge. On the morning of the
I love this judge.
25th. Oh, strike that. On the 24th, do you know, did Nick Smith and Justin Hamilton come to your properties and help try to put out those fires?
Which day was that?
The 24th.
Which day of the week?
Monday?
Hear you, sir. Oh, what day of the week?
Monday. Monday the 24th.
No, could you repeat that question, please?
Oh my gosh.
On
He's
Monday
got-
the 24th, did Nick Smith and Justin Hamilton come to your properties, the Car Source properties, to help put out those fires?
On which property?
Any of the properties.
Do you know the time? Like, sorry, I can't understand that question.
You don't, I just want to make sure, you don't understand the question of whether or not somebody came to help put out fires at your property?
On Monday, you said?
Yes.
You said, what was the name of the people?
Nick Smith, he worked for you at one point, yes?
Years back, yes.
Justin Hamilton, he worked for you at one point, yes?
Years back, yes.
Did they come to your properties or property and help fight or put out the fires from the 24th?
At the location of Car Doctor.
So, yes, they did.
Yes. I will have to look at the video or photograph. I cannot remember that far back. I'm sorry.
Were you there attempting to put out any of the fires on your property?
Lori, you beat him to the question.
Did you call anyone to assist to try to help, or did you just let the property burn?
What do you mean by that? I'm sorry.
Did you do anything? Did you call anyone? Did you ask for help? Did you physically do anything to try to stop
I
the
called 911 several times, yes.
fire? Did anybody show up?
I do not know.
Okay. Nick Smith and Justin Hamilton, if you know, they showed up at least one of your properties to help put out the fires, correct?
I will have to look at the photo or video.
Okay.
Sure.
Do you recall asking them to help put out the fires at your property?
I did not ask anybody.
No?
I did not ask.
And on the 25th, the morning of the 25th, did you call Nick Smith again and ask him for help that day?
I did
Which
not.
would be Tuesday?
I did not.
How much
Okay.
you want to bet they have phone records? Lawyers don't ask questions they don't know the answer to.
So, if I could just maybe turn around. So this is, we have referred to this as car source number 1. If you know this, this is what I refer to as Ruther High School. That's a school right there, right? I'm sorry, you have to talk in the microphone.
Oh, yes.
Okay. And on the morning of the 25th, this building right here, this school, had suffered graffiti damage. Do you know that?
I do not.
You weren't at the property across the street from it earlier that morning?
I did not stay there.
I didn't ask you that. I asked, were you there and did you see graffiti on the school?
I saw graffiti on the roadblocks. I did not see it on the school.
Okay. Did you see that morning Kyle Rittenhouse cleaning graffiti off of that school?
I did not.
There's video
You
of
had
it.
a conversation with Kyle Rittenhouse that morning of the 25th, correct?
Like edibles better.
I remember that I had basically when I got there with my parents, people reach out to us pretty much.
And when you say we got there, you're talking about
At Car Source.
The 5912?
Yes, 5821.
Sorry, 5821. And you had a conversation, according to your statement, with Kyle Rittenhouse.
Which, yes.
Okay, you gave a written statement on September 11th to a Detective Cypress?
Yes.
You remember that?
I do remember that.
Okay. And you had a conversation with Kyle Rittenhouse, correct?
Yes.
And Kyle Rittenhouse, he had offered to help, according to your statement, and fundraise for your business. Is that right?
He wanted to help with fundraising the business.
Right. You told that to Detective Cypress.
Yes.
And you gave him your phone number because he asked for it. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, was there any damage to the car doctor or to Car Source on 63rd? Was there damage to those properties on the 24th?
Which was Monday?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, it's just over a year. Monday. Okay, Monday. Okay, please go on with the question. Sorry, could you repeat that?
Was there any property damage to the car doctor or the Car Source, what we call Car Source 3, on the 24th?
On the Car Source on 63rd, no damage.
car doctor?
No damage.
So, all right. So 2 of the 3 properties at that point had not suffered any damage from the riots.
There were a few windshields crack on the inventory itself at Car Doctor.
The buildings were okay?
Yes.
Okay. How about on the, did you go down and check your property on the 26th, which would have been the morning after the shootings?
Morning after. Which location?
Both of the properties that had not been previously damaged.
Yes.
Was there any damage to either one of those properties on the 26th?
At Car Doctor.
And what was that damage?
Towards the back, where the body shop is.
What kind of damage?
So when we arrived on a Car Doctor, went inside, our mechanics were there. He actually pointed out, hey, you want to come see this?
Now when you say he, we're talking about your mechanic.
Our mechanic.
You don't have to tell me what he said, can you just tell me what he showed you?
Yes, that's what I'm about to so he took us towards the back, towards the building where there's a body shop. So it's a 4-car garage, and what we observed was there's the body cars, a lot of bumpers, a lot of taillights, headlights. All those cars in the back are for body repair. So there is pickup trucks, they're usually rust out, and there are a few of them, but there was one by the garage.
So the damage was to the, if I have what you're saying right, to the inventory.
Well, no, I didn't finish yet. So basically, there was a lot of glass on the back door. Yeah, I can't. And the garage doors, the rectangular tiles that are see-through, they were stretched, they were fallen inside the shop. So it seemed like it was a break-in.
Okay. Do you have, I'll ask it to you this way. On the morning of the 25th, you went to the properties to make sure that they were okay from the night before, the 24th, right? I'm talking about Car Doctor and Car Source 3. You checked the properties to make sure they were okay?
Monday or Tuesday?
Monday night into, Monday, I take that back. Tuesday morning, you checked the properties and they were okay?
Yes, sir.
Now, at Car Doctor, you have a ladder, is that right?
Not that I can recall.
Do you have a ladder at any of your properties?
No, I don't think so. I don't believe so.
Have you seen videos of, on the night of the 25th, of people at your property?
I have.
Okay. They're on the roof, right? Yes?
Yes.
Do you have a way to get to the roof?
They made a way.
Oh, were you there?
No.
So I want you to tell me what you know, not what you're guessing.
Yes, that's
okay?
what I was about to, when I brought up the pickup truck. On top of the pickup truck has a cab. Okay, we had about over, you can say, at that time, probably 250, 280, less than 300 tires in the back shed. And we keep them in the shop or whatever. So they are stacked on top of the pickup truck, on the cab, towards the roof.
So it is your belief that these men climbed up on the tires and then climbed up on the roof? That's your belief?
I just told you what I saw the next day, on Wednesday morning.
And you never provided, is it your testimony today, you never provided a ladder to anybody to get on the roof of Car Source?
I did not.
Do you know if your brother was there that night prior to curfew, right? On the 25th?
The 25th.
If this helps, I can tell you there's a picture of him with the
Yeah.
men.
It's better with the days, Monday and Tuesday. Sorry, I just have a hard time with the dates.
Do you know if your brother gave them a ladder?
No,
You don't know?
No, you don't.
he did not.
Were you there?
At Car Doctor?
At Car Source at 7:30, 8 o'clock at night on Tuesday.
On the 63rd Street?
Yeah. I'll ask you this way. When did you leave the properties for good? On the 25th.
Before curfew.
Okay. When?
It was in between 7:30, 7:45.
Did you see those people that were armed at any one of those properties on the 25th?
No, sir.
You did you see that? You didn't see them like standing with your brother in that photograph?
I did see that.
So you saw
I did or did not?
But in the photograph, I do see people.
So you saw those people on your property on the evening of the 25th, Tuesday,
Yes.
with your brother.
No.
You just saw them there without your brother.
When I got there, I was ready to take off. I had to just lock up the building and heading home before their chaos, and all the protest starts.
And those people were at your property.
Those people,
The people with guns, they were at your property, right?
I saw a lot of people on Sheridan Road armed.
I'm asking you specifically if you saw people with guns on your property before you left to go home on Tuesday.
I'm sorry, I cannot remember. I know that I was asking my brother to leave.
So you were down there to pick up your brother, right?
No.
You were down there to...
I got a ride from my mechanic. He dropped me off, and I came in, locked up the store, and we left.
Agree that the next day, meaning Wednesday, there's no damage to any of the doors on your building in terms of no locks busted, none of that stuff, correct?
On which location?
Any of them.
Car Doctor, there is damage.
To the locks?
To the back. To the glass, to the garage doors.
Right, but you don't know who did that.
I do not know.
Okay. And have you watched the video of people, armed men, walking in and out of the Car Source that evening?
Yes, I have. I have.
You've seen that?
Yes.
Okay. Did Nick Smith have a key to your building?
No,
Did you give him a key that night?
I did not.
How about Justin Hamilton? Justin Hamilton.
No, I did not.
No?
No.
But you saw on the video them walking in and out of your store.
I cannot even tell who is who or who these people are.
That wasn't my question. My question was you saw people walking in and out of your
Yes, I did.
store. Did you ever ask Kyle Rittenhouse if he could help protect your business on on Tuesday, the 25th?
I did not.
You never asked, and you never asked Nick Smith, and you never asked Justin Hamilton.
No, I did not.
I'm going to ask you to this way, and I'm not trying to be offensive the way I say this is. Were you just willing to let your property be damaged on the 25th?
After seeing the destruction, there's nothing I could do.
So you kind of resigned yourself to the fact that whatever was going to happen on that day was going to happen. Is that what you're saying?
Bullshit. You know they asked for help. If somebody offered you help, you would take it. Think about that, folks. If somebody texts you and said, "Hey, I'll help. I have weapons. I'll come protect your property and your business," right? Wouldn't you freaking say, "Yeah, come help"? But then actually, if they have insurance, right, they already have to pay the deductible. So who knows?
Have you provided interviews as it relates to the damage to your property?
Lex Luthor.
I may have.
I'm looking at one of those interviews right now, and what I want to ask you is if this sounds about right to you, and I'm taking it off of your interview. 137 vehicles were burned on your lots.
Wow.
Does that sound about right?
If that's what it says.
That's not the question.
I do not know the numbers off the top of my head. I'm sorry. I don't have the.
Would you challenge that it was 137, or does that sound about pretty close?
It's close.
$2.5 million in losses. Sound about right?
I don't know. My dad handles the money part of the business.
Your family had to hire a lawyer because your insurance wasn't going to cover those damages.
That is not true.
That's not true? So if you said that you're working with a lawyer to convince your insurance company to cover at least some of the damages, that's not true.
I did not have to hire an attorney.
Oh, he's getting caught in a lie because he's got his statement to some kind of a cop or something.
Did you tell the writer, our insurance company is finding their way out, so they don't have to pay for all this arson?
Oh, it's a news article.
Did you tell him that?
Well, there was no acceptance from the insurance company, so there's...
My question to you was, did you tell this interviewer that our insurance company is finding their way out, so they don't have to pay for all this arson? Is that correct?
I'm sorry, I do not remember.
You don't remember saying that?
I do not remember. And to add to that, they also said that I was dead. That was in the media too. So I do not.
Well, I'm
remember.
asking what you said, okay?
I do not remember, sir.
You do not remember having that conversation?
I do not.
You don't dispute the $2.5 million?
I cannot tell you. I don't deal with the numbers. My dad does. I'm an inventory manager, sir.
Then you deal with the numbers. You manage the inventory. You should know how much each vehicle costs and how many vehicles you have. That's the whole job of an inventory manager, right?
Your dad's not quoted to you. Has your dad given interviews, do you know?
He does not speak much English.
Okay, so the numbers came from somewhere, and your dad doesn't speak English, and your brother doesn't work there, so it's you, right?
How do you own a business
But
in the
I
United
do not
States and
remember
speak
that.
English?
I'm sorry, it's been over a year.
Okay.
That's true. Kenneth,
So when
right?
you testified under oath that you had insurance for all of this, that's not true, right?
I'm sorry. What was the question again?
Hold on.
You've already testified under oath that you had insurance for all of this. That's not true, is it?
We do have insurance. My dad does have insurance on all the locations.
But not for those vehicles due to arson, correct?
I'm not understanding the question. I'm so sorry. Could you repeat that for me?
I asked you, one of the first questions I asked
Sure.
was about
My
your
dog's
loss.
barking every little noise. Sorry.
You had said you have insurance. My statement to you is you don't have insurance for all the damage done to those vehicles from arson. Isn't that true?
We do have insurance
For arson.
Answer the question which was asked.
for ours. I do not know.
Good thing your dad doesn't speak English. He'd be shaking his head right now. He's proven that this guy's a liar is what he's proving right now. So he's doing a good job, I think.
Did you see your brother give 4 men a ride in his BMW?
Good point, Kenneth.
From the 59th Street address down to the 6226 address? Did you see him giving?
I did not.
No.
Okay, hold on 1 second. I pause this. So he just said, did you see your brother drive people down in a BMW? Remember, his brother said that the other brother, the first witness, said that this brother, the second witness, drove them. Remember that? Remember when that witness said that? Or am I wrong?
I don't have any other questions for you. Thank you, sir.
I would have brought that up.
No.
You may step down, sir.
Unless he has a third brother. Do you guys think he has a third brother? Remember that? He's like, no, my brother gave him a ride. I didn't give him a ride. My brother gave him a ride. I don't have a BMW, so I don't know what I'd do with my BMW. They arrested somebody else for real life? Cool. Oh yeah, let's look at a blank door. Show somebody interesting. Oh, is that what he said? I could have swore he said no, my brother drove him. Oh, we got a cop coming in now. Is this the lead DA now? And then the other guy's the...
You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth.
Assistant, or are they
The whole
both
truth, and
assistant
nothing but
DAs?
the truth, so help you God.
Don't even get me started on Hunter's artwork.
Can you please state your first and last name and spell them for the benefit of the court reporter?
Officer Eric Widener, ERICHWEIDNER.
And Mr. Widener, how are you employed?
As a City of Kenosha police officer.
How long have you been a police officer?
Going on 22 years now.
And what is your current assignment?
Third shift patrol.
And were you working on the evening of August 25th, 2020?
Yes.
What were your general duties that evening?
I was assigned patrol.
So the City of Kenosha was patrolling on that night?
Yes.
And where were you stationed, or what were your activities, let's say at the beginning of your shift that night?
Just normal patrol, taking calls if a call came out for service, staying in the area of the downtown area, uptown area, and just taking normal calls when someone called 911.
What do you mean by staying in the downtown area or uptown area?
In the outskirts of the heavy congested area that was having the unrest.
So that was part of your duties, was to stay around there, but then if another call came in, domestic violence or burglary, you'd go to that call?
Yes.
At any point were you directed to go to the area of 63rd Street and Sheridan Road?
Yes.
Why were you directed to go there?
I am an evidence technician also, and I was called to go and process a shooting scene.
So what is an evidence technician?
We have special training above and beyond what a normal patrol officer has, and we respond to calls of service for like burglaries, anything that needs fingerprinting, shootings, shots fired, suspicious deaths, stuff like that. Kind of like what everyone knows as a CSI, but we do it kind of as on patrol.
Now, what you said you were there to process the scene, what does that mean?
I was told there was a shooting scene, and they wanted me to process it, photograph it, document it, and collect evidence.
At that point, how many details about the shooting were you given?
None. Just that there's a shooting and a subject was down.
Can I ask you to bring the microphone closer to
Yes,
you?
I was
Just
trying to lean forward.
You can move the microphone. Actually, that might be easier.
All right. Much better.
So, what is the first thing you did when you got to this? The scene is a car source location. Is that correct?
Correct. It's a car place at 63rd and Sheridan.
What is the first thing you did when you arrived on this scene?
I spoke to multiple supervisors on the scene, asked them what the circumstances were. The person who was shot was not on scene anymore, so I asked questions about that. And then I was walked towards where they thought the scene was.
And then what is the next thing that happened?
Eventually, I started locating some evidence, and I started photographing the scene.
Where did you first locate evidence?
The first evidence I located was spent shell casings or fired shell casings in the street, about the 900 block of 63rd, which is west of Sheridan Road.
Now, there should be a laser pointer up there. If not, I can give you one. I think there's one in front of you. Could you just indicate on the map where you found those casings that you just referred to? So you're pointing to the 900 block of 63rd Street, sort of towards the end of that block in front of the car source?
Yes.
And could you tell what kind of shell casings those were?
Those were 40 caliber.
Are those the type that be normally fired by a handgun?
Typically, yes.
And those were actually in the street?
Correct.
What's the next thing you discovered, or what did you do next?
I placarded them with little number placards for the photographs 1 and 2, and then as I walked east towards the car lot, I found another shell casing that matched the other two on the parkway, which is between the sidewalk and the street. Typical houses would have grass, but it was a business, so it was concrete there.
So that was another 40 caliber shell casing?
Correct.
That was still not on the lot of the car source?
No. Parkway.
What is the next thing that happened?
I walked into the parking lot and I observed what appeared to be blood on the concrete of the parking lot. Closest to would be the southeast corner of the building.
Can I get that? What is the number again? 47. Easier to see photos. Can I get the first photo should be exhibit 47. Much fair to turn these in. Is it this one? Oh, we're good.
All right, play some music.
Officer,
but
if I
no,
could
YouTube
direct
will
your attention
frickin'
to the screen,
be a dick about it.
to exhibit 47. What are we looking at here?
Whole bunch of cars.
So the building I'm talking about is to the left on this picture, and there's a group of 6 cars. That's where most of my evidence I found reference the shooting happened, and that's where the blood was found also, possible blood.
All right, so is it fair to say that if you were standing where the person that took this picture, which was, I presume, you, did you take this picture?
Yes.
Are you facing Sheridan?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So is it fair to say that as you were taking this photo, you're looking directly at Sheridan Road and then what is now Freighter behind Sheridan Road?
Correct, I'm facing east.
Okay. That's a more succinct way of putting it.
Towards the lake.
And so in the middle of this area of cars is where you found most of the evidence in this scene?
Correct.
Can I have the next exhibit, 48, please? Officer, what is this?
Again, the eastbound picture, just a little bit more close up to the cars.
And exhibit 49? Is this the building?
This is the building I was talking about. It's the very south end of the building where the group of 6 cars were parked.
And the next, I believe, would now be exhibit 50?
They knocked over Pepsi because Pepsi.
What is this, sir?
It's a picture of two cars. The silver car, I believe there's a number of placards next to it. Those should be, one of them should be where the possible blood is. The other one should be shell casings I found, fired shell casings.
So that moisture on the concrete there, is that related to the crime scene or is that something else?
I couldn't determine what that was.
Now, you talked about placards.
Donnie had to pee.
There's a pointer there next to, on top of the, no, I'm sorry, an actual wooden pointer. Could you just go and point out what you mean by placards?
Well, we want to see.
I believe those placards were 4 and 5. Both of those placards were fired shell casings.
And what kind of shell casings were they?
223 Remington Aguilas. Aguila, Aguila, I believe.
You move to Exhibit 51, please. At this point, I'd move Exhibit 47, 48, 49, and 50 into evidence, and I would ask for 51 on the screen.
Objection. I don't. You see?
Is this one of the placards you were discussing?
Correct.
Oh,
And
look, they painted
that's
Black
one of
Lives
the
Matter on somebody's car.
223 rounds?
Correct.
How many rounds of 223 ammunition did you find?
That night I found 2, which is labeled right here in this picture.
Those are the 2 that you found?
Correct.
Are you aware if any others were found of 223 ammunition?
I was told multiple days later that some other ammunition was found.
And do you know where it was found?
I was told under a car, is all I heard.
Did you look under every car for casings?
Yes, I looked under cars.
With a flashlight or something?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with oblique angle with the flashlight, if you put it on a side angle, the shell casings usually pop out at you because they're on a different plane. I didn't see anything under the cars.
And you're doing this around midnight, after midnight on that evening?
Correct.
After a couple White Claws. That reporter was handing them out.
Yeah, is that some of the blood next to it?
No, the blood's off to the left from the picture.
If I could have the next exhibit, number 52. And that's just a close-up of the same placard?
It's a medium shot of the same placard, and eventually I'll do a close-up of it before I pick it up.
Maybe I can get there.
Next exhibit 53, please. What are we looking at here?
Right, number 5 is at the bottom of the screen. That's one of the fired shell casings that I was just talking about. And then number 6, which is up on towards the top of the screen, towards the other vehicle that's parked, that was the possible blood that I found.
And would that be all that darker colored area there?
Well, it's hard to see from that picture, but it's definitely where the placard is. I'm not sure about the black color on the right. I don't know what that is.
And is it fair to say that when we're looking at this picture, we're sort of looking in the midst of those group of 6 cars, kind of in the middle of them?
Yeah, I guess, yes.
Okay. So what is the next thing that you did?
I most likely took a medium and close-up of the possible blood on the ground, and then I noticed there's a black hooded, like a full face mask that was to the right or to the north of this picture right here.
So this is just placard 5, that's one of the casings?
Correct. So this one you can see placard 7, which is that mask that I've located there. It appeared to be fresh, like someone just dropped it there. It had no weathering on it, nothing like it's been there for months or anything like that. Not sure if it had anything to do with the case that we're on, so I just labeled it.
So as we're looking at this, are you facing south?
Yes, I'm facing south. I'm standing at the corner of the building, the southeast corner of the building.
And you're looking right at where the shooting happened?
I'm looking at where my located evidence was found. Yes.
So we're kind of looking in the middle of that group of 6 cars.
Correct.
And did you change any of the lighting or do anything with the lighting from earlier in the evening? The lighting that was on that parking lot?
No.
About how long after the shooting were you processing the scene?
I cannot answer. I don't remember. We would have timestamps of that of our dispatch, but I don't remember, to be honest with you.
But it wasn't like 4 in the morning at this point?
No.
So it would have been relatively close to when the incident occurred?
If I had to guesstimate, I'd say an hour.
Okay. I believe this is Exhibit 54.
Is there objection?
No.
Okay. That's it then, right? Yes.
Okay.
So 51, 52, 53, and 54, I'd like to move into evidence. What is then the next thing that you discovered as you processed the scene?
I believe I took a crime scene video of it, and then I collected all the evidence, and then I proceeded back to the police department for the evidence.
Did you find another casing on Sheridan Road?
I believe it was on 63rd Street, west of all the other casings. So the 40 caliber casings I initially talked about on 63rd Street, those were more towards a house that was labeled 915. I found another one 2 houses away, which is 925 63rd Street, and that turned out to be a 9mm casing, fired casing.
Now, in terms of your activity that evening, is that the extent of your activity at this crime scene?
Before I left, there was a possible shots fired going on in a park west of us, 1 block west of us, and I went over there to attempt to locate evidence also.
Best of your knowledge, that had no relation to this crime scene?
I believe it had nothing to do with this crime scene. There's other shootings going on.
Is everything you moved in? Yes. Okay. I have nothing further. Thank you.
Officer, can you tell me, when you arrived on the scene, did you locate a hospital bag with any items in it?
What kind of bag are you talking about here?
I'm sorry?
What kind of bag? Like
It's
a
only been
grocery bag
descri-
or?
It's only been described as like a clear hospital type bag.
I did not locate that bag, no.
How about a fire extinguisher?
Not that I can recall.
So in a case like this where it's a homicide, and you're there relatively quickly after the call comes in, I'm assuming, right?
I'm not sure how long it took me. I was not one of the first responders. It took me a while to get there from the first responding people.
And I think you had said you do kind of like CSI type of work. That's how you described it?
For layman's terms, yes.
Is the area like taped off that night, do you remember?
It was.
And so you're looking, and I believe you, I'm not questioning you. You're looking under cars for spent casings, and you understand that at a time later, a couple days later, there were more casings that had been located. Is that right?
Correct.
Did you have anything to do with the collection of those? Any involvement in the casings that were found after?
No, I did not.
I don't have anything else. Thank you. Thank you.
Any redirect?
If you remember, what parameters or what were the perimeter of the crime scene that you were examining?
With the crime scene tape, you mean?
Yeah.
When I arrived on scene, the crime scene tape was put up by other officers who responded prior to me. It was on the very south side of 63rd Street, extended from the alley, which is west of the building in question, all the way to Sheridan Road. It crossed Sheridan Road onto the Kenosha Hospital property. It went down the sidewalk northbound towards the other shooting, I guess.
So it was a very large scene.
Yeah, it was taped off. Typically we'll do that. We'll have the crime scene of the main area of the crime scene, and because of large crowds or unruly crowds, we'll expand it farther than normal.
And is it fair to say that there had been if you know that there had been a crowd around this crime scene earlier in the evening?
Once the tape was up?
No, before the tape was up.
Yes, there's large crowds.
And unless you're told specifically it relates to the crime, is a empty fire extinguisher or a hospital bag something you would typically collect?
Unless I determine it's part of the crime for the investigation, then I would collect it. I had no knowledge of a hospital bag or a fire extinguisher being used in this incident.
Nothing further.
Any questions?
If it was there, would you have put that little card on it, the hospital bag?
I would have to determine if it had something to do with this. If it's just blown there from the wind or something like that, then no. If it had no relation to what was actually happening, unless someone would have told me there's a bag involved in this, then I'd be looking for a bag, obviously. We're right across the street from a hospital. It could have been a wind. I don't know. I don't remember seeing a bag.
Okay, thank you.
Nothing on that.
Give me a step down, sir.
Thank you.
I hate it when it's quiet like that. Oh, they're bringing another cop in.
Easier to go about that way, actually.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Do, Your Honor.
Please be seated.
Officer, I know it's tough because you guys have those big belts on, but if you could just try to maneuver that microphone as close to you as possible and try to speak into it because the acoustics are not great. Okay. Can you please state and spell your name for the record?
Jeffrey Van Wee, V-A-N, capital W-I-E.
And officer, how are you employed?
The City of Kenosha Police Department.
How long have you been a police officer?
For 18 years.
Did you become involved in the investigation of a shooting involving a Kyle Rittenhouse?
Yes.
And how did you become involved in that case?
I was handed over evidence by Detectives Howard and Antoranium to process and actually secure into evidence.
And how did you go about obtaining that or starting doing that?
So Detectives Howard and Antoranium met me by the police station. From there, the evidence was brought into our evidence room in the police station, and it was turned over to me.
And was this on August 26th?
Yes.
Do you recall the time?
It was roughly 9 in the morning, maybe a little before 9 in the morning.
And do you know from where these items had come?
No.
So what is the very first thing you did?
First thing I did was I was given 2 rifle boxes, so I actually processed the rifles and took photos of them.
Now, do you have any special training to do this type of thing?
Yes, I do.
And what is that?
I'm a certified evidence technician for the last 15 years.
And what does that mean?
That means that as far as crime scenes go, that I would, whenever any different kind of crime scene goes, or I would go respond to that scene and I would process that scene for evidence, searching for whether it's DNA or fingerprint evidence or blood evidence. Also just processing evidence. So like if a detective has an item that he needs processed for DNA, then I would actually take that and swab that correctly.
And how do you swab that correctly?
As far as the rifles went, I actually took 3 swabs from each rifle. The swabs I obtained were from the trigger, from the pistol grip, and then from the barrel has a guard around the barrel, so I swabbed the guard of that barrel because that's the most likely place if somebody's holding that weapon that their hand would be on that guard.
Why would you not, or why didn't you swab the actual barrel?
Yeah.
So when I was given these rifles to process, I was instructed to process them. There was at that time, for my knowledge, there was no reason to swab the barrel.
So you swab the areas where someone is most likely to actually grip or hold the weapon.
Correct.
And that generally would not be the barrel of the gun.
Correct.
So what did you do? What's the first weapon that you encountered?
It was a rifle box that was written. It had writing on it. It said Kyle Rittenhouse.
So what did you do with that?
With that one, I opened the box up. I wound up taking the serial number down, the information out from the weapon, photographing it, and then swabbing it in those areas I just mentioned for DNA.
Did you take photos of them?
Yes, I did.
And then what is the next thing you did in processing this evidence?
That, once I finish with that, it gets secured up, and then so I tape up the box, and it's all.
All right, so you weren't here, obviously, but a couple days ago we had an evidence box and it was opened and it was taken out of there. So you would have at first sealed it up in that box. You were the first one to do that?
That's correct.
All right, and then you would put that into evidence?
Yes.
And then you would come back to the next thing?
Correct.
All right, so what's the next thing that you did?
Next was an additional rifle box, which was labeled Dominic on it.
And what did you do with that?
The same process. So I wound up swabbing the same areas on that weapon for DNA, photographing it, and then securing it, taping up and securing it.
Now I want to go back to the box that had Kyle Rittenhouse written on it. Did you ever look into you said there was a rifle. Was there anything else along with the rifle?
There was also a sight, or a scope, if you will, inside the box. It was not attached to the rifle.
Was there anything attached to the rifle?
A black sling.
And was there any ammunition or a magazine or anything like that?
Not in that box. There was a separate bag that had a magazine in there with live ammunition.
And did that have 1 or 2 magazines?
Had 1.
And was there any markings on that box? Or bag?
I was informed by the detectives that was from the rifle belonging to Kyle Rittenhouse.
So what did you find when you looked at that magazine?
The magazine had live ammunition in it.
Do you know how much live ammunition was in that magazine?
The magazine itself was a 30 capacity for 30 rounds, and there were 22 live bullets in there, unfired bullets.
And were they all the same brand, or were they different brands?
They were all the same as far as caliber goes, but there was multiple different brands inside there.
And what was the caliber of these?
They were .223s.
And did you take a DNA swab of that piece of evidence as well?
I did a swab of the actual magazine, So I took a swab off each side of the magazine, a DNA swab.
One swab on both, or one
One swab on each side of the magazine.
Okay. And then did you package up the magazine and the
Right.
live
So
rounds?
I wound up taking each unfired projectile out, and then in the order they came in, I secured them in boxes. So like the first unfired bullet that I ejected out of the magazine, I would put in a box and label it 1. The second one 2. So I did that for all 22 rounds, and then took photos of each one.
Took photos of each one.
Correct.
Did you do the same thing with the rifle that was labeled Dominic?
There was no ammunition with that, no magazine.
But you did the same process in terms of the DNA swabbing.
Of the actual rifle, yes.
And then what do you do once you take these swabs?
So the swabs I wound up securing. The swabs actually go in a little swab box, and I secure them in an envelope, something that can breathe, that's breathable, and then that gets taped up, and I secure those in a locker into evidence.
Was there any other evidence that was not related to these firearms that you packaged or logged that day?
There were a few other items that was handed. Yes, there was some clothing. There was a cell phone, and then a backpack which contained some medical supplies.
Did you do anything with the information that you got off of the firearms?
So we do with every firearm that we log into evidence, we have a form called an E-Trace form, and what that is we work with in conjunction with like the ATF as far as having a database and a record of every gun that we log into evidence. So with both of those rifles, I wound up contacting on the telephone an ATF agent who actually did a quick, what they call E-Trace form with me in order to log that into the database.
I have no further questions. Thank you.
Let's examine.
Good afternoon, officer.
Afternoon.
So, on the 26th, you basically assist these two detectives, Howard and Antaramian, in terms of doing this swab. Is that right?
I did. They handed off the evidence to me, but I did the swabs by myself. Yes.
Understood. Well, and your report indicates that at KPD, evidence detective Antaramian advised he needed 2 rifles processed. Did he tell you, he being Detective Antaramian, the areas that he wanted swabbed by you?
He did not.
Who made that decision?
I did.
At that point, do you know anything about the case?
Not a whole lot, no.
Okay, so you mentioned that the trigger is swabbed, right?
Yes.
Okay, and I know we don't have the pistol or the firearms here, so I'm gonna. When you say the barrel guard, is that the area here where my left hand would be if I was holding it like this?
Correct. So the barrel of the gun has a plastic, if you would, guard around it, and that's the part that I swab.
Okay. And then the pistol grip, is that the area?
Right. That's where your hand, your palm would be. So if the trigger's here, the pistol grip is where your hand is holding onto.
Okay. So when the DNA swab is done initially, obviously you're looking for potentially forensic evidence on that gun, right?
Correct.
But you don't know the areas specifically that you're supposed to be looking at. True?
Unless I'm otherwise told, when I process, whether it's a gun or a rifle, it's going to be typically the same areas that I would obtain swabs from. If there was something else for some other reason or rationale that I would have to do things differently, then I would do things differently. But normally to swab a rifle or a handgun, just about all our evidence people would choose the same areas.
Okay, and I'm not
Right.
questioning that. What I'm asking is, at some point, do you learn more information about this case?
I'm sorry, as far as
I'll ask it to you this way: Did any detective come to you and ask you to do additional swabs on that firearm now that more information about what had happened was out there?
no, did not.
If somebody would have asked you to swab based on information they had, and they said to you, Officer Van, we would like to know if there's DNA on the actual barrel of that gun, could you have done that?
Absolutely.
And that wasn't done, was it?
No.
The firearm that you, I think you opened it that had it said Kyle Rittenhouse on it?
Correct.
Okay. There was a sight on that gun, is that right?
There was a sight. It was not mounted on it. It was in a box with it.
Okay. If you remember, and I'm going to use the wrong terminology, so I'm going to ask for your help. That sight didn't have a laser that projected out where, for example, if I was holding it, I could put a dot on your chest, correct?
Not to my knowledge, but I never actually messed with the sight at all. So I never turned it on, or I never really viewed it at all. So.
Okay. And this testing was done the day after the shooting, right?
The 26th. So if the shooting was the 25th, then yes.
Okay. Thank you for your time, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Question?
Are you aware if the defense attorneys asked for further testing of the gun?
I was not informed of any other further testing.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any other question? You may step down, sir.
Thank you.
Hey, Don, you didn't attach it.
Ready?
Or did you? No, you didn't attach it. Yeah, I just got it, but you didn't attach anything.
Anybody need a very short break?
Donnie!
Don't look at me like that.
There he is. Sometimes he likes to jump over his fence. Dude, Donnie's being a dick. So my dogs have out in the yard. They like to sit out there on their like beds.
You
Donnie goes over there and pisses on their bed.
This matter will be the
What a
truth, the
dickhead.
whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God. I did. Please be seated.
Monster. Donnie, where's Brownie? Brownie, where's Donnie?
Sir, I'm going to ask you to get that microphone right in front of you by any way you can. Perfect. What's your name?
Officer Moretti.
And can you please spell your first and last name for the benefit of the court reporter?
Yes, the first name is P-E-P, and my last name is M-O-R-E-T-T-I.
And how are you employed?
The City of Kenosha Police Department.
And how long have you been with the City of Kenosha Police Department?
A little over 12 years.
And were you working on the night of August 25th, 2020?
I was.
And were you with anyone that evening in your squad car?
Yes, my partner that evening was Officer Krieger.
And what were your general duties that evening?
Patrol.
And what is that? What do you mean by patrol?
We were assigned to an area throughout the city. We're in the kind of downtown area, so we have different areas that we patrol. They're assigned numbers, and we're in what we would consider Area 20, which would be 60th, Sheridan, and other areas around there.
Now, was there anything out of the ordinary going on that night in that area?
Yes, there was civil unrest.
So, was your duty to patrol the civil unrest, or other things, or both, or how was that working?
It was a combination of both. So we had patrol areas that we were responsible for doing our normal routine patrols, but then we also had to respond to fires that were taking place, civil unrest, and anything that would be actively taking place that would need a response.
At any point that evening, were you made aware of a potential shooting?
Yes, Officer Krieger and I were at 60th Street and 11th Ave, and we heard gunfire, and then a few moments after that, dispatch advised that they were receiving calls that there were shots being fired in the 6300 block of Sheridan Road.
So let me ask this way, you guys were in a squad car?
We were actually, I believe, out on foot at that point at 60th and 11th, and we could hear gunfire in a close proximity to us.
So then what did you do?
We re-entered our patrol vehicle, and then we responded toward the sound of where the gunfire was coming from, which would have been roughly the 6300 block of Sheridan Road.
And who was driving?
I was.
And then Officer Krieger would be in the passenger seat?
That's correct.
So you were at 60th and 11th. Did you just drive right down 60th Street?
Correct. We proceeded east on 60th to Sheridan Road, and then I made a right turn to face south on Sheridan Road.
Now, you had lights and sirens on, or how were you operating, if you remember?
I don't recall if I had our lights active at that time.
So what happened when you get to 60th and Sheridan, you turn right onto Sheridan?
Correct. So I turned the vehicle to face south on Sheridan and observed a large crowd of people. There was a lot of screaming, yelling. There was appeared to be a person laying in the roadway up ahead of us. There was active gunfire throughout the entire city. There was still sounds of gunfire taking place, and we received reports of injured people that needed assistance in approximately the 6300 block of Sheridan Road.
So that would be south of you, and you'd be pointed in that direction.
That's correct.
Now, in this sort of situation where there's this ongoing violence, what are you trained to do? What are you trying to do at that point?
So for a situation like that, the first thing that we would do is if there's an active threat, we're trying to stop the threat. And then after that, it's life-saving measures to try to render aid and preserve life at that point.
So were you going to do that from 60th and Sheridan, or were you trying to get closer?
So we were trying to get closer, but information was put out over the radio that there was rifle gunfire taking place, and we're in a standard patrol vehicle. There's no ballistic protection on our patrol vehicles, and our vests at that point were only rated for handguns. And we weren't equipped to head into what we believed to be an active shooter at that point with the equipment that we had with just the two of us being there. I noticed there were armored vehicles behind us, so I reversed our patrol car and moved it off to the side so that the armored vehicles that were equipped to handle something like that could pass us.
So you were waiting for the Bearcats, as they're sometimes called, to go past you, and then you were going to follow them into the scene.
That's correct.
So what, if anything, happened next?
I'm sorry? Sure.
What, if anything, happened next?
The Bearcats, I believe, began to pass us on the left, so we were in the curb lane, and I believe there was, I'm not sure how many there were, but a few Bearcats, I believe, passed us. And then there was at that time, unknown white male.
Yeah, I got FedEx here again.
In the roadway toward the front of our patrol vehicle.
I'll be right back.
And now, as you're sitting here, do you know who that unknown white male was?
Yes.
Who was it?
Kyle Rittenhouse.
And you had never seen him before?
No.
And when you see this unknown white male, who we now know as Kyle Rittenhouse, what do you observe?
He had a rifle that was slung and somehow attached to his body. He had his hands somewhat similar to this, and he was approaching us in the roadway toward the front of our patrol vehicle. My partner and I, Officer Krieger, gave him multiple commands to get out of the roadway and step to the side so we could proceed and try to get to where we'd observe people ahead in the roadway that needed assistance.
Now, were you giving these commands, were you shouting out the window? Did you have some sort of system you were giving commands? How are you giving these commands to Mr. Rittenhouse?
I recall Officer Krieger yelling out the passenger window. We had our windows down so that we could hear gunfire that was taking place to try to determine how close it was to us if anyone were to approach us from behind or the sides. And I believe at one point I used our squad's PA system, which is a loudspeaker that has a microphone.
And what you said, was that directed at Mr. Rittenhouse or the crowd in general?
At Mr. Rittenhouse. We were giving him instructions to get out of the roadway, and essentially get out of our way so we could get to where we believe the problem to be.
As Mr. Rittenhouse was approaching the vehicle, were there other people in your way, or was he the primary person blocking you from going down there?
At that point, he was the only one in the way.
So you indicated that Mr. Rittenhouse's hands were kind of up,
That's correct.
and you said he had a rifle.
Yes.
Did you think that that might be the person who could have been involved in the shooting?
At that point, no. In my prior experience in law enforcement, when somebody surrenders to us, they will generally put their hands up, but then they will take a further step and generally drop to their knees, or they will lay in a prone position and make some type of further action. They'll usually follow commands when they're attempting to surrender. I've never in my career had somebody put their hands up and continue to advance and disobey orders from us to not advance on us.
And were there other people out that night that had rifles and firearms?
We were surrounded all night, all week by, there was probably more people armed with weapons than not throughout that entire course of the civil unrest.
So seeing someone with an AR-15 wouldn't necessarily mean much to you at that point?
At that point in time that night, no. I had encountered throughout that entire shift, like I said, I probably spoke to more people that had pistols and rifles and baseball bats and you name it than not. And there were also, I couldn't even tell you how many people came up to me throughout the night that had a rifle and would come up to say, hey, I'm not trying to do anything, I just want to talk to you. And the advice that my partner and I gave everybody that night was, if you're a supporter of us or you're here to try to help, go home. There's a curfew in place for a reason, and being out here is only causing more problems. It's harder to tell who's there to be a problem and who's not.
Now, you mentioned curfew. Did you have the ability to write curfew tickets?
We had a system in place for taking people into custody, and then they'd be issued citations, yes.
And were you doing that to everyone that was breaking curfew, or were there guidelines that you were given?
No, that would have been physically impossible with the amount of people that were out there.
So who, if anyone, were you to give curfew tickets to?
I don't remember exactly what the direction was, but it was something along the lines of just the most severe incidents, or if we were to obviously observe a felony taking place, then we would act on that. But anything that would be more minor, we didn't have the capability or the manpower to address everything that happened in front of us.
So you couldn't give curfew tickets to everyone. What about if you observed, let's say, property damage that did not threaten someone's safety?
That would just have to stay in the stack until we were able to get to it.
So that you had a priority list that evening of things you would respond to?
Correct.
Now, a shooter, where would that be in the priority list?
That would be the top of the list.
So this man we now know as Kyle Rittenhouse is approaching you. There's commands over the PA. There's commands being shouted. What's the next thing that happens?
He approached the passenger side of our patrol vehicle. With him disobeying the commands and being armed with a rifle like that, I drew my service weapon, and Officer Krieger deployed pepper spray because it became clear and obvious that he was not going to go away, that he continued to just advance on us and disobey commands.
Now, you say you were still driving the vehicle, correct?
Correct.
So when you draw your service weapon, what does that mean? What did you do with it?
So anytime we're confronted with somebody that's armed and that could be a threat to us, it's not uncommon for police officers in this country to be ambushed. And given everything that was taking place, a war zone is the only way I could describe it. We were surrounded, the city was burning and on fire, and we were just outnumbered and completely surrounded. So with his advance with that weapon, we were in a stop position at that point, and we're waiting for him to get out of the front of our vehicle so we could advance. And as he approached the passenger side, I was able to use my right hand to withdraw my weapon and then keep my left hand on the steering wheel.
So did you point the weapon, or did you just kind of point it at him, or did you just have it ready? What were you doing with it?
I would imagine that I would have had it pointed at him, because somebody advancing on us with a rifle not obeying commands at that point would be taken as a threat.
Now, were you on patrol the night before?
I believe I was.
You don't remember for sure?
I worked continuously through all of our civil unrest, and I don't believe any of us had any days off, so I would say that's fair to assume.
If you remember, and you may not, is it fair to say there were more fires and property damage the night before than on this Tuesday night?
That's correct. Through that period of things, I was there from the start of the civil unrest with the protesting, and long before we had anything set up or in place. I was there for the start of it and through this incident.
Is it fair to say that there was a more presence of Bearcats and National Guard and things on this Tuesday night than the Monday night previous?
Yes.
Now, you said you drew your weapon and Officer Krieger deployed pepper spray. Were you able to see if the pepper spray had any impact or hit Mr. Rittenhouse?
Not sure if it made contact with him, but his deployment of the pepper spray
Sorry, guys. Anybody still here? Fucking Donnie got out. Soon as the FedEx guy shows up, Donnie got out. Sorry, finally caught him. Damn dog. How long have I missed? How much of it did it How long ago did it go to this scene here? Has it been a while? 8 minutes. Are they just at a break? I guess they're just at a break. All right. I don't know. What do we want to see? Oh, so hold on. Yeah, you know what? I don't know. I gotta. Yeah, sorry, Sheepdog. Sheepdog's all texting me, telling me. Oh, did I get it? Let me look. Hell, if I get it, can I play it here? Let's see. This person's not. Their chat's not showing up.
At about.
Oh, we're back.
49ish.
What the heck happened?
On the 25th.
I believe so. Yes.
Well, they're back. Dawn break.
Are you able to, through your training and experience,
yes, I got it this time. Dawn break.
Decipher the type of firearm that has been fired, like a pistol, a shotgun, a rifle? Can you do that?
On occasion, sometimes it's harder to decipher different calibers, but sometimes you can.
Were you able to decipher what you thought you heard on the 25th at about that time, at about 10 minutes to midnight?
At the time, I'm not sure what thought process I had at that point. There was just gunfire erupting, and there was multiple types of gunfire going off simultaneously. So I would say it'd be fair to say that yes, some of it sounded like rifle fire and some of it like pistol fire.
Can you bring it up? What's the number? Exhibit 5. Officer, Marty, I'm going to show you Exhibit 5. If you can tell me, is this vehicle right here the vehicle that you're in?
From this picture, yes, it appears to be.
Okay. And you're in the driver's seat of that?
That's correct.
Okay. Do you see at that point, you know that's Mr. Rittenhouse now, right?
Correct. Now, yes.
Do you see him coming toward you at that point?
From our vehicle?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I know you had said you were outside your vehicle. Is it fair to say at that point you're back in your vehicle?
At this point, yes, because we had just turned the corner.
Okay. All right. And now he has his hands above his shoulders, kind of walking toward you. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. Go ahead, please.
Shot them! Hey, do it right here, just shot them! Do it right here, just shot.
Can you hear those people yelling that guy just shot someone?
At this point in time, no. No, we cannot.
Down there. That dude just shot them right there. Now do it right here.
And are you backing up to let the Bearcat through, or are you backing? Is that the reason you're backing up?
At this point, with watching this video, it'd probably be dual purpose here. So I did want the Bearcats to be able to get around us. And as you saw twice there, Mr. Rittenhouse did manipulate his rifle as he's walking toward us, like in this part right here. His hands are not above his head. They're actually down toward the rifle. So that's where my partner and I were going through the process of wondering what this is.
Okay, very good. Now at that point, is that you yelling
Yes, I heard it. I'm not certain if that's Officer Krieger or myself. I believe both of us were yelling at him to get out of the road.
Okay. And you had, I think you had said, Attorney Krause said, normally in your experience, people who are surrendering, they'll put their hands up, but they'll do other things, correct?
Correct. They'll usually get down on their knees or prone themselves out and follow instructions that we're giving them.
Right. You're not giving him any instructions to get on his knees or lay down.
That's correct.
Okay, so when you say people do things like do this and then lay on the ground, that's done at your direction most of the time.
Not necessarily. I've had quite a few experiences where when somebody does have a desire to surrender to us, they will do that on their own because they're aware that they're armed and their intent is to surrender and they don't want something else to happen. So.
And it's also when police officers are dictating to them what to do, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Get down, hands behind your back, or whatever it is. That
Correct. Yeah, instructions will be given at that point as well.
Fair enough. So, at this point, it's your, and I'm not being critical of you, it's your testimony that at this point, you have no idea that Mr. Rittenhouse has done anything wrong.
That's correct.
Do you ever make contact with him about him having a firearm in public?
No.
Do you ever want to get any information that he might have as to why he's walking toward you with his arms up like this?
Yes, that would be something that we would do secondary. As I had stated earlier, when you still have gunfire that's actively taking place, there's victims that need assistance and there's still potentially a threat that's got to be stopped. So those take priority over collecting names and information at that point.
Now, to be fair, in hindsight, the person who was involved in this was, for lack of a better term, you didn't know it at the time, but he was surrendering to you. Right?
That's quite possible, yes.
And can you just finish playing the tape? You saw him do that, right? He
Correct.
backed up from the car. Is that the point that you believed Officer Krieger had used the pepper spray?
Yes.
And at that point, you and or Officer Krieger told him to go home or something like that?
I don't recall anybody telling him to go home. The only commands I recall giving him were get out of the road and to stay back.
When you went to the hospital, did you see any videos of what had happened? Meaning any of the shootings?
I know that there were people that had videos playing on cell phones through, I'm not sure if it would be social media or what the websites would have been, but there were people that had videos of what was taking place on their phones, yes.
When you were at the hospital, did you become aware that the person that you had contact with right there was the shooter?
I was focused on preserving evidence with Mr. Rosenbaum and other tasks that I had to take place, so that was all in passing. I didn't focus much on what was taking place with that video.
Is there anything else you want? Officer Reddy, I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any
Every time I see that prosecutor sitting down, I just think
Officer-
of Batman, The Dark Knight, Commissioner Gordon.
What is your sole focus as you're sitting in that squad car addressing the potential active shooter?
That if we were to come across a threat, to stop that threat, and if we weren't actively engaged with somebody that was a threat, to preserve life and find anybody that was injured and needed medical assistance.
Now, in that video that was just shown, it showed that Officer Krieger was outside the squad car. Do you know how he was outside the squad car right before you backed up?
I don't remember him leaving our vehicle.
Can we play that exhibit again? Just play the whole thing.
just shot all of them down there. That dude just shot them right there. That dude right here. Yeah.
Officer Krieger get out of the, or he was behind the vehicle, kind of by the trunk area, and then jump in the passenger seat?
Yes, it appeared that he was exiting to retrieve something from our trunk.
Okay.
Attempting to retrieve something from the trunk, it appeared.
What kind of things do you have in the trunk?
That night we had medical supplies. I believe he had a type of ballistic vest that had plates in it that would have been more helpful for rifle rounds. And I don't recall if he had a rifle in the trunk that evening or not.
So it would be more helpful with rifle rounds, but perhaps not stop them?
Correct.
And you're talking about rifle rounds, you're talking about 223s fired from an AR-15 like the defendant had?
Correct.
All right. Thank you. Nothing further.
Let me step down. Is it for today?
Yeah.
Who wants to have a little early break today? Let's break for the day. Obviously, the standard rule, please don't discuss the case with anyone, not even with members of your household. Don't read, watch, or listen to anything to do with the trial, any account or anything else. Keep in mind what I told you the first day. You're welcome to tell people, people may know, who know you, know that you have been coming to the courthouse every day, so they may be aware, and you're welcome to tell people, you're on a jury. I'd rather you didn't if you could avoid it. But tell them you're on a jury, but just say the judge was very forceful in saying that I can't say anything about it at all, hear anything about it at all, or we'll both be in really big trouble. Perfect advice. With that, have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you Monday at 9 a.m. And would you please go to the jury? You want to in the library or the jury room? Library?
Yep, back on Monday.
Jury room? Please go to the jury room and speak with Mrs. Mataska Menting. Thank you.
I guess they shut this mic off. They're not going to let us have any open mics this time again. Gosh darn it, that was so fun. Well, let's wait a minute, because sometimes they bring up other stuff. I think that this lady, too, always wears the same outfit, too, doesn't she? Like, what is she? She's not an attorney. She's probably, my brain's freezing. Bye, Willow. Yeah, we'll be back, Yep, they closed it down for sure. So, let's see. It's 2:30. Right now, I'm going to head to the post office.
Case of the sitting against Kyle Rittenhouse and the appearances are as before.
I'm going to head down to the post office. Of course. You're welcome. How do I say it? Let's see. Isla Paint. Is that how you say it? Or is it Isle Paint? Anyways, paralegal. That's it. Thank you, Dunbrick. I don't know why I couldn't think of that name. But so, yeah, I'm going to go head to the post office, go pick up the kitty cats for the veterans for Veterans Day, head down to Fresno VA Hospital, drop them off. Because I can go in the VA hospital if, I can go in the store, I can go down there, but I can't go through the rooms where the patients are. So I can go drop them off, and that's about it. Unfortunately, I don't get to see any patient. Otherwise I'd go on Veterans Day and give it to them. But we have gifts. We have cats and other gifts for the veterans. For Veterans Day, thanking them for their service. So I'll probably go live from outside of there so I can show you guys what we got for the veterans. So you might see like a short little 2-minute live for me down there. And then I'll be back here at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So that way we can do our Friday night live chat and news session, right? And then I can have some Crown Royal. I've been wanting to have Crown Royal all day watching this, but I can't because I know I have to drive. So, all right, guys. We'll be back. I got to head on out. And Yeah. See you guys in a little bit. Thanks for watching the show. Hope you guys enjoy it.